Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Wow. Hello, everyone. Live from the Bahamas. I am here. We got my man Bryan Paris again on the show. Just feels like the other week, I think it was. And we've also had Mr. Wasserman on. We'll talk about mid-stakes mastery. And we are going to talk about a lot of things today. But Bryan, how are you? Where are you? What's going on?
I'm doing well. I'm just still here in Florida with doing family stuff for Christmas, getting set up for that. So I didn't wind up going to the Bahamas, but I've been playing online a lot.
Well, listen, I myself, I'm happy I came, although it didn't go so well. I really did not want to be here today. I can't say that often, but I wish I was in day 3. Did not cash. I am not in, but I am here, and we are going to have a very special show with some great players. I think 10 total GGMillion titles amongst them, a lot of earnings, and of course, we're going to see over 200K payout today as we will go through and highlight some of the best in the game, which is always the case here. I know you played with a lot of these players, but here's a look at a winner from last week, and we will take a look at the winning hand. If I am not mistaken, this was a battle. His first time win, 16 appearances, first final table, does get it done, and we see the hand here, 10-7 off with the raise. Pretty standard defend as we see a king-9 deuce swap. Let me know if anything stands out to you on this hand. Heads up, of course, we do want to play a wide variety of hands.
Is he going to raise here, I guess?
Yeah, 10-7 off's got some kind of backdoor stuff happening.
I can't imagine he's calling, so if the hand continues, he must be raising. Yeah, there it is.
So does raise, does pair the 7. Now what? You took the initiative, you improve. What do you like here?
I think I would check. I mean, you have some showdown now. If you're going to keep betting, you're hoping to hit like an 8 or a jack or a spade. I think on a 7 you check and maybe check call.
Yeah, do you want to... Look at this. You're just in tune. You got the answers. You know what's going on. You see the man coming with the same same philosophy as you. He is going to go ahead and just check, and now has a decision where he won't be folding. We know that.
I assume he's just calling. I think he's got some showdown. He still beat some of the draws. I mean, having a 10 of spades isn't great because you block some of the draws your opponent might have. But he might also check a hand like Jack 10 or like 10x of spades. So. I guess he's check calling all in on the river if he's winning the sand, so his opponent shouldn't really have that much ace-x, because he's not really betting the turn with ace-high very often. So he'd have to have like ace-9 or ace-king. So this actually makes sense as a bluff catcher, I think. I mean, it's still like a pretty tough call to make. I'm not saying it's easy or anything, but it does make sense if he winds up calling here.
I would say, though, having the hand in terms of looking at the properties for bluff catching, he does kind of block some of the things that your opponent might have, the most obvious bluffs. So I think that's, it comes down to player. Is he willing? Is he capable? And
yeah,
what do you make of that?
There's going to be a lot of leads at this point because they've been playing the whole final table together.
For sure.
The heads up has gone on some number of hands at this point as well. So,
and I think a big part of what you said, you don't expect him to have many ace-x's played. So I think that kind of comes down to what hands is he going to value bet. As we are, I guess, not going to see the final hand there. Maybe we can flash it back. I don't think we saw the. Did you see it? I missed it.
I did not see what. I mean, obviously he wanted to calling if it's the last hand of the tournament, but I didn't see what his opponent was bluffing with.
Okay, yeah, I think it just fast forward there. So hopefully we can. Let me get that info for you if we're not going to be able to scroll back there, but we will try to see what that hand was. He did win the tournament. He did make a hero call. I know that, and I can't remember specifically what the opponent had. Apologies to that. I want to welcome everyone who's watching. Of obviously a huge day of poker down in the Bahamas. Day 3 with about 200 left, playing for a crazy prize pool. So we'll keep you updated on that as well as we look at Arch. I just played with him yesterday in this tournament, as well as some of these other players that are here. Anyone from that list, though, that you would say stands out, or who have you played the most with on this list, live or online?
I played a lot with Barrett Trojan. I played a lot with Ole and Astet over the years. I mean, I played a bunch with all these guys. But I mean, Barrett Trojan's stats are just dominant here. I mean, it's insane, honestly.
Yeah, really crazy. Got to battle with him a little bit, and then we're going to see this kind of culminates the end of the year here with the WSOP here in Paradise, and we can see the actual the current standing as we see the season 2 Linus Lulliger there, GGMillion earnings, where 995K as Jinx also has gone up in the total payouts today. We're going to look at that 223K almost a quarter million to first. Again, everything a little bit lower, I think, because of what's going on in the Bahamas, right? And there's stuff in Vegas. There's other places people aren't necessarily as much playing this second online. So we do see a little bit lower than normal. Still got 100 entrants on the dot. So a nice payout today. Everyone guaranteed 3 buy-ins as it kind of ladders up one at a time until we get closer to the end, and we'll see about a $50,000 heads up at the end as well. Brazil, a hot topic, travels well here to the Bahamas. Bruno Volkmann, someone you probably played a lot with. 25 final tables, won 3 times, and does come in with almost no chips, 2 big blinds. What are you doing if you're Bruno? I mean, you got to spin. You really can't be picky here. You got to try to get something going. Have you any advice for a 2 big blind stack?
I mean, ideally you can make a jump, but it's very unlikely. So you're going to have to take a spot somewhere. But you don't have to panic. You don't have to just shove the first hand you see or anything like that. But you do have to find a spot to take before the big blind hits you. And if you get a double or two, you can certainly try to outlast 1 or 2 players and go from there. But the key is just to not blindly take the first spot you see. I think you do have a little bit of time to wait at least until the big blind hits you, and then taking your big blind is not the worst thing in the world either.
Yes, I am very much so with you where it is, I guess, a little bit of a higher power. You need some help here. This is not much you can do off 2 blinds.
You're going to have to get lucky for sure.
You're going to have something go right, or else you're going to be on your way out. And then we see a big jump up to 20 blinds for 8. So again, if you're doing in-game client betting on GG, definitely something that you will want to be aware of, where this is 20 blinds, but an 8 is not so short. That's a lot. That is playability. Sven Anderson, someone who has won 2 times this tournament, as he has a very impressive resume on GG. Got to tell you, Sven, dangerous on 20 blinds. We've seen him before. He knows how to win. Tell me about Sven, and what do you expect from him today?
Did he win 2 weeks ago? The last one we did? I think he did.
He has won recently. I think he actually was on your show.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, yeah. He played really well that time. He got heads up against that unknown Brazilian player who made it a lot farther than we thought he did, and wound up playing pretty well too. But
yes.
Yeah, I mean, he's very experienced, and he's going to know exactly what to do. And if he can get some chips, he's going to be dangerous.
Yeah, that is exactly as I would describe, just someone who's capable, knows how to do it, and also just see November 30th of 2025. So there you go. He took first for 352. He is an 8, but 20 big blinds, plenty of play. In Kaspar and Julian, someone who we don't know as much about. He has 2 final tables, and he has played a lot on GG, and these stats are indicative of not maybe playing as much higher buy-ins. He has 6.7 million, very impressive on GG, but only 251 in GG millions earnings, so isn't playing the 10K all the time, but is in there, is mixing it up, hasn't got a win, looking to do that. Also did take a huge score this year, though, 1.4 million in the 1.5K GG World Championship. So there is a look at the guy is willing, he's able, he can close, knows how to handle big pressure. And I think, again, someone on 33 blinds, we see a lot of play. I think it's going to be a little bit tighter, the condensed blinds today, so it's kind of wide open who's going to win. What about Kaspar? Do you have any play with him, any experience?
I don't remember I'm sure I've played with him before, but I haven't been on GG in a couple of years, so I don't recognize him. But I'm sure he's got the Austrian flag. I'm sure he's very capable. That's a huge score for 1.4 million, so I think we'll expect good things from him.
For sure. And Jeremiah Zuari, there you see rocking that trophy in Barcelona. He is someone that knows his way around the live poker tables. Total GG earnings just shy of 2 million. And he has played 22 times, only 3 cashes with the final table. So 40 blinds. He is shorter, but really not that short. 40 blinds is a lot of chips at a final table. So he has got a good opportunity today to cash in and become profitable in the GG, and actually maybe with 22 appearances, 342 in earnings. We don't know how many rebuys, but is in position. And I'm not as familiar with this player. How about you? Have you ever played with him?
I don't think I've played with him. I mean, I think, like you said, he's more of a live player. But if he won Barcelona, he's going to be the force to be reckoned with. So we'll see how he does here today. And like you said, 40 is quite a bit. I mean, the blind will go up before too long, but starting off with 40 is a lot of flexibility.
Yeah, I gotta believe this is going to be, again, not a runaway situation today, where the final table is it's more condensed. Here we see another 40 blind stack. Chris Rudolph, someone he's won before, 26 final tables, 190 appearances. He's almost played this tournament for 4 years on Sundays. Pretty crazy in GG earnings. You got to believe this experience is he's one of the bigger earners, one of the bigger crushers in poker, and here he is with another big stat line here for GG. I'm sure you battled with him before.
Yeah, I've played some with him, and he's definitely a very, very good player. And that's a really impressive ratio of final tables and cashes in this tournament. Only one win so far, but we'll see if he can add to that today. And he's got plenty of chips to work with.
It is kind of a wild stat, right? To have, you would think it's almost one or the other. So he's cashed so much, he makes the final table a lot, which would imply kind of his chips. But then he's only won once, of course, variance. Who knows? He could have got
He
some.
might be more of an
seconds
ICM style player too, trying to make jumps and stuff. I mean, Lena has kind of similar stats. Nicholas Alstedt, he's got like a bazillion appearances and only like 4 wins. So I think you see that, and there's a lot of variance in that as well.
Yeah, it's a great point. All right, and Greggy Poker here, rocking a fun avatar. 9 appearances, has not got a win. Cash though, pretty nice, impressive
That's a very
ratio.
high cash
Cashing.
rate. Yeah, that's really good.
Yes, and his GG earnings over 7 million, so knows his way around the tournament tables here. He also took in the 25K ultra high roller for first. He got 429K, so he has finished tournaments off. He has 50 blinds today, plenty to play for. Knows what to do, and I think we are going to see a very interesting stack distribution where the ICM is very much prevalent and the risk premium is going to be high for a lot of players. So we'll be super curious how they go about it. Who's going to go for it? Who's going to sit back? As there isn't a ton of short stacks at 20 blinds. Really know where to hide. Have you played with Greedy Poker here?
I don't believe I have. It looks like he's playing mostly just the high stakes stuff based on the GG earnings and the score in the 25K or whatever. So I don't think I've run into him before, and I'm sure he's quite capable.
Yes, I think, again, Stats Show knows how to play. And here's a guy, Duke O'Haven. He has won 4 times on 19 final tables, cashing at a very high clip, and about a third of his earnings, a little less on the GGMillion. So, again, so familiar with the structure. I think there's a lot to be said about that. When you play a tournament format a lot, you just kind of know the blind levels, you know your opponents, you know what to expect. And I think he is going to be in a really good position to add another win to his trophy case here. 51 blinds. How about Duco? How much have you played with him, and what do you expect from him?
I don't know if I've played with him a lot, but he was on one of the final tables I did with you here maybe a few months ago, and I think he got either second or third, and he played really aggressive and found some really good 5-bet spots. So I think he's going to be an exciting player to watch, and coming with this many chips, he's definitely a serious threat to win the thing. Really high cash ratio too. I mean, that's incredible. 37% at a tournament this tough is very, very good.
Yeah, it is impressive. Well, we're going to see a hand from him with 6-5 suited, and again with the early stages already up to 500K. You can see he's got a good start there, and fairly deep here. He is going to be playing, as we see a highlight, as a open under the gun. Tell me about your sort of what do you go off of when you're going to play 5-6 suited? What's your kind of cutoff blinds? What are you looking at factors to play a hand like that, early position or not?
I rarely play hands like this from early position. I think these hands are very overrated, but he's a really good player and he's going to make it work somehow, I'm sure. It's nice to have a few of these hands in your range to sort of have the different board coverage, because otherwise your opponents can just assume you basically never have a 6 or a 5 or a low straight when you open from early position. So you want to do it at some frequency, but I mean, I think I would want to be on the cutoff to open this hand most of the time.
Yeah, that one benefit of that too is when you do open early position and you get against the blinds, you are able to kind of rep that bigger range, and then they may start bluffing into you. And then when you do miss, you get to rep that big, high card value range. So there is some, again, if you know how to play post flop, you know how to navigate, it's kind of cool because you are not supposed to really have that hand. And we see he does get 3-bet and he does defend and he does flop a draw. So this is a pretty cool hand, 6 high. Backdoor spades, see what happens here. We know
I think in a field that's tough too, there's a lot of benefit to that sort of thing, because if your opponent's going to just say that you just never get to have a 6 or a 5 in your hand other than ace-5 and ace-6 suited when you raise an early position, that can give them a lot of advantages on certain post-flop boards. So I do think at the highest levels, there's more benefit to having that sort of board coverage and throwing in a few more hands like this from earlier positions. And
it's a great point. Well, it does
now the straight. I mean, there's some other stuff to be worried about, but in a 3-bet pot, his opponent shouldn't have that much. He'll have a few ace king, ace queen, ace jack suited type hands, and he'll have jack 10 suited occasionally. But for the most part, this board is more favorable for the flatter than the 3-better.
Yeah, it's a great point. He does have the low straight, but you can kind of rule out jack 10. It's not impossible, but it's unlikely. And then other than that, there are some flushes, but he does go ahead and check back. So a little bit of deception, a little bit of pot control. He does have the SPR at 1 teed up anyway, right? So I guess barring, diamond would kill his action. I think he's sort of trapping, sort of getting to also make his opponent feel a little more comfortable here. So let's see what happens on the river, as it is a highlight hand. Do expect him to win. See if it's a bet and a call or a check and a bet. Or a bet and a raise. I mean, depending on sizing and what happens here, we know we'll see a big pot. If he is checked to,
interesting turn
okay.
check.
It is interesting.
Bet and the raise.
Yeah, with this non-diamond, non-10, non-jack, non-6, I think what this is, yeah, just going, he's going to turn this hand into a all-in. And again, showing you the creativity of a player and getting to pick up extra chips to kind of manipulate the board, the hand, the situation. And you said turn, what would you normally expect there?
I mean, I would have thought he'd bet to protect his hand, but it does make sense to check. I mean, that he can make sure a diamond doesn't hit. He can give his opponent sort of a false sense of security going to the river, and it turned out to work out for him there. I mean, there are a lot of ways river can go bad for him, and the pot is quite big already. So I was expecting him to mostly bet, but I do think his range is also very strong relative to his opponents on this particular turn. So checking and making sure he gets a safe card first makes some sense too.
Yes, absolutely. Well, that is a look into his game as we get to see highlights from the top 3 players from this final table from Sunday. Again, this is a very nice feature in the pregame show. We're going to take you to the second place today. Boris Angelov, look at that photo, man. You can't make that up. That's energy, passion, the flag in the back. It almost looks AI generated, made up, but that is from a final table, I believe, just a few years ago, or even might have been this year. At the 2024 it was. There it is, main event, 5th place, 2.5 million, 3 million in GG earnings. Some of those coming in the GG Millions. Hasn't been here a ton. 0 final table, 0 wins, 4 cashes. Looking to check off a few of those marks. The final table has been secured. Can he get the win? And how about Boris? Have you played with him?
I'm sure I've run into him a few times over the years, but I don't really remember. It looks like he's played on GG a good amount, but doesn't usually play this high, so he's taking a shot here, and he's in a great position coming in second. And he's obviously played for big money before, being at the main event final table and everything, so we'll see how he manages to perform here today.
For sure. Watching the chat, want to give a shout out to everyone where you're watching from in the world. Let us know. We will have 3 GG ticket giveaways for you, $50 worth. I'm going to give 50 on my X account to you today as well, so you guys can go, and I'll put that out at the break. And how's the Bahamas been for me? Well, I'm in my room. I'm looking outside. It's actually a nice day out, a little windy. I have not had great success at the tables. I did have one piece in the 50K PLO, and only one, and the player won for 1.5 million. So that helps the trip. But on my personal Hendon Mob, shout out to my man Hook, very long time close friend, took it down and has had a good series here. So kind of, you know how that is, Brian. Sometimes you do a little swaps or buy pieces, and that can be the difference in having not so fun trip or having a solid trip. So again, been okay for me, but personally didn't cash the 50. I'd love to talk some hands with you. Actually, there's some really interesting spots, and it's a fast structure in that tournament. So I think you got to kind of go for it a little bit, as we see a lot of people in for multiple bullets. I actually am in for 4. So that wasn't super fun, but great tournament, hit the guarantee, and we'll talk more about that as we're watching this hand progress. We're already on the river at ace-6 suited. He is in the big blind. Tell me anything interesting so far here.
I think check calling the flop makes a lot of sense. When you have top 2, you have such a good hand, you don't want to scare your opponent away by check raising. Now that he's on the river and we'll check on the turn, I'd imagine we'll see a bet of like 1/3, but he went for the big bet instead. So when he does this, he's representing that he had something like 5-4, like a straight draw that missed.
Yeah, you put a lot of pressure on a jack, a weak ace, or any ace. I mean, you're basically, polarized all the way, value or not. He does go for that ask. And this is, I think, why it's so fun on these spots, particularly based on your opponent, where you get to the river. What do they have? Do they have tens? Do they have a weakish hand? Do they have somehow a strong hand? Do they believe, are they the hero type call? Do you blocker induce? Do you blocker try to get a little value, or do you go for the jugular? And all of those are options, and there's so much going on here. So he does go for the big bet. And what would you be consider calling with here as played? What would be your kind of minimum threshold?
Well, when you're the in-position player, I think the key is to not block any of the busted straight draws. So you don't want to have like a 7, 5, or 4 in your hand. Ideally, you have an ace, because if you block an ace, then that takes away all of his 2 pairs. So I guess, I don't like to call the 7s. I think like that you want him to have something like 7-5 or 4-5. So I think 7s is not a particularly good hand to call with there. But that
is quite a hero call too. That's even in the camp of you. there's like some version where you could be, I guess it'd be unlikely to have your opponent bluffing with like a jack. So I guess that's sort of, it's unlikely you're getting beat by a hand that's bluffing. But like that is definitely, like you mentioned, would not make it in my bucket of nice hero call candidate hand. So he does go for it. He does make a sticky call and a nice big pot for Boris, who executes there against maybe player dependent, goes for a big size. And I mean, if he's
Yeah,
calling the
I think
sevens.
he's probably up against someone who's prone to making here. There might be some history there too. They might have some history where they're bluffing each other big on the rivers and stuff. But I'm
Yeah.
kind of surprised to see the big bet with this particular hand, and I'm also even more surprised to see the call. But these guys are playing at a different level, and there's a lot of history involved with these smaller fields, so there might be some stuff going on there.
Very, very, very interesting hand. Nice selection from our team. Again, the pregame show. We got the main show coming up. We're gonna have many more hands to review today, but we also get to see our chip leader here coming up, who is someone. Again, we have 10 titles amongst the finalists, and we also get to see the top three hands, a highlight hand from Sunday that is grabbed. You don't get to see the info of exactly where it is in the tournament, but based on the blind level, we can kind of tell. And speaking of, was this the man? Was that him? Was that Gus Campos? We just saw him make
No, no,
a
it was a
hero.
different guy a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
But this
Okay.
is very. I mean, he has a chance to almost double his GG earnings with this tournament. So, and he's only got 120K live earnings too. So this guy is really coming in with the chip lead, and
Yeah,
he's
he's
got a
got the
chance to
sharp.
seriously add to his resume here today.
Yes, this is over 200 to first, so he would add a nice cherry to his account. He has never appeared, so this is zeros across the board. Now he has an appearance. Now he has a cash. Now he has a final table. Can he get a win? And I got to say, I'd be curious to see the. We're gonna get to see the GG pricing for the in-client betting, because someone with this type of account, you got to imagine there's a chance that they're not even the favorite, right? With this
Oh
stack and
yeah,
this profile. So let's see how that stacks up, and let's get to see a hand from Gus Campos, the Brazilian here. Again, Brazil having a very good representation in the uh, GG millions, and we're
even at
seeing
this
here
table
a
we got
couple.
three Brazilians.
Yes. And let's see if he matches up against them or someone else. As we'll see tens on the button, 15, 30K level, see a raise. I think typically deeper here you'll see a flat, but I guess there is merit to three betting. I think normally flat, correct? Or would you ever?
Yeah, I think it's a flat, especially when you're approaching the final table. You don't really want to get format with this type of hand against other big stacks. So you flat is play a position. It's a very good hand, but it's not one you want to necessarily play for big stacks like this with.
Absolutely. 5-3-3. Tens, nice start to the hand. You got position, you got overpair to the board. And let's see, with the check, now, do you want to be betting or
I'd imagine we'll see a
checking?
bet, but we'll see. Yeah, there's a bet
Let's
for
go
about a third
small.
pot. That's what I was thinking.
All right, well, we see that exactly in line. Bryan is locked in again. Also, mid stakes mastery can get that info in for you, but Bryan is on there with Mr. Wasserman. He was just on as well, and we'll talk about that. We'll get that link up for you guys if you want to kind of get a better look into the mind of Bryan Paris, number two all time. First, I should say, number two to 10 million online cashes back when no one had that, so that was a big deal. Now we see the
10 years
GG.
ago now, yeah. Now
Yeah,
everyone's got 10 million. It's
yeah,
easy to
people
get 10
at this
million
final
these
table,
days.
people have 10 million on GG earnings alone, but that is again very impressive. And we do get check raise, so now we got to start worrying about a few things. You are up against jacks, queens, kings, aces. You also are, there's some ace deuce suited, could maybe check raise you as a gut shot, or 6-7 suited open. Maybe some hands that want to get aggressive, but as played, you now have tens. You got check raised. What do you like here?
This is close. I mean, you can bet and reopen the action, or you can just check and try to go to showdown. He does go for the bet here. I think the four in particular makes him want to protect against ace X a little more. But yeah, this is a good board to check raise on too, because when you open, your range is uncapped, and the flatter generally is not going to have a better hand than maybe like jacks or tens. So you can put a lot of pressure on the flatter's range here. But he bets a turn, takes it down. Nice pickup there for him.
What would be your guess as played? I mean, is that something like king queen or queen jack with the back door? Could be a hand that you're check raise bluffing
I think
there.
it's probably something in that range. Yeah. Those hands, you want to just have like a backdoor flush and then like two high cards basically. And all those hands make for pretty compelling check raises. And I guess he shut it down before because the in position player is going to have some hands that connect with this sort of board. You'd like to see a more disconnected turn to keep betting on there, I think, or hit your backdoor flush draw.
Yep. Well, that is a nice pickup there, and this is again a kind of a mystery. Talk about mystery hand. We have a mystery chip leader. This is someone we have no experience with. We have not seen on the show. We have never
He played
seen
this hand
actually.
pretty well in standard, I think. So for what we've seen, he knows what he's doing. But we'll see how he does at the final table. Sometimes you've got these total wild card guys at final tables who are doing this off the wall stuff, and we'll see if he's one of those guys or if he's a little more polished.
Yeah, I gotta say, I think that I am so curious to see our next portion of the pregame show, which is the in-client betting. And Brian, at this point, I think we gotta start throwing in flights or family trips for the bets and the wagers for our dinners. We've had a lot of action with me and you. We need a spreadsheet for that. So I'm
Yeah, you're
well,
up 2-0,
we
I
can have
think, for
some
now.
fun.
We'll see if I can get back to 2-1 today. But yeah, you're beating me so far.
Okay, well let's see what happens as we are going to look at the pricing, and I have a feeling we may see today very unusual sort of a matchup, right, where we see some difference than just uh, it's just that we don't get to see this. But let's see, he is actually so he's not the favorite. You see Boris, we go with. Actually, that's pretty crazy, right? That is actually the most abnormal I've seen. 5.96 to 1, 5.18. It's almost like with that gap, right? There's a 20, he's got almost 50% more chips, and he's slightly the favorite. And you can see actually Duco, who's won 4 times, has less chips, is a worse price or bigger favorite than Boris. So this is very interesting today, and I will let you kick it off as this is so close. You can go ahead and have the first pick or the guess. Who do you want?
I'm going to take Duco for my first pick. I think he's got the experience and he's got plenty of chips to work with, and that he can very easily close the gap and start dominating here.
I like the pick. I think it's a very reasonable one. I will go with Boris, the man, the myth. He is in the building with a nice stack in 5.96. So I'm going to fade the unknown, and I'll put. It's already 6 to 1. Let me put. I'll put 40 of my 100 units on that, so I get a.
Oh, I didn't say my units, but I'll put 40 on Duco as well, and then I'll put for the next pick. I'll take Chris Rudolph for 30.
Okay, Chris Rudolph, great pick. That was who I was going to pick. And how far down? I mean, you know what? At some point, I gotta just be. I'm gonna take the chip leader. Why not? I likely be in late with the sweat at least. Even though I think it is a wild card, I'll go with him for 40 as well. So I got 40 and 40. Would double my money if he were to win in my units. His play money, but we'll have our dinner wager on it. And yes, let's see your third pick.
Debating between Kaspar and Sven. I mean, Sven won last time, but he's so short. I guess I'll go with Kaspar. He's very experienced, and I think he's got enough chips that he can get something going here.
Okay, so Kaspar 10 to 1. Okay, and then wow. I mean, Bruno is 2 blinds. That wouldn't make much sense. I do have a lot of love for Brazil and his ability,
I
but
was
that's
tempted
just
to take Bruno as well, but I mean that'd be an incredible return if he does somehow make the comeback. But 2 blinds is a real steep hill to climb.
that's one where it's fun. You put like $50 on that, right? In the client, you get a chance for a huge payout, not a big risk. Good story, but yeah, I will go with. I'm sorry. Did you take Sven? I wanted Sven. Did you take Sven?
I took Kaspar, so you can have
I'll
Sven.
take Sven. That'll be my last 20, so 300 payout. We got our 3 picks, and again, what stands out the ICM, the risk premium situation when you have this type of very tight. This is maybe one of the more tight final tables I've seen with the stacks. Right, it's just there's no big gaps. It's very locked up from. I mean, really first down to. I mean, even like sixth, seventh, it's not a big difference. We're talking about like one double, and you're right there. So what do you expect to see? Do you think this will be a little tighter today?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think as long as the 2 big blind stack is in, and the big stacks can try to put some pressure on the medium stacks, but past that, it's really anyone's game. I mean, even Sven is only a double away from being right back in the middle of the pack, and then from there, it's anything can happen. So I think we'll see a really interesting and drawn out game here.
Yeah, I agree. But of course, things change very quickly. We see one double, one get knocked out. Someone does become the major stack, and things change so quickly. As we will see also, if Bruno somehow can double or get up to 10, 12 blinds, right? It's going to make it even more crazy where there's a short stack, but he's still in. So we'll see if he can fade the first few hands or if he will get knocked out. And we are going to, again, play to a winner. There is no deal making. This is the GG Millions. I'll give you guys a little look here around. See if, I don't know if this will work with the lighting there, but, I'm in the in the Bahamas there. Like, you can't really make out the ocean, but it's a sunny day. And
Looks
again, I
nice.
wish I was not here with you
In the
guys. I
room,
almost never
yeah.
say that in terms of being here. I wanted to be in this tournament. I actually have some sweat still in, a little bit of swaps and pieces, but it's a huge payout and a big shout out to GG and WSOP hitting that 60 mil guarantee. I think it was like 72 and a half or 73 million. So pretty crazy. I think someone was in for 18 buy-ins. I heard rumors of a 24 buy-in in the 25K, which is
Wow.
just insane. So again, it's definitely not your normal 25K. There was a lot of rebuys and a lot of action. So yeah, we are again gonna play to a winner today, and we will see the giveaways at the end of the show. Must be subscribed, must hit the thumbs up. Let us know where you're watching from. Take a quick break. We'll be back in 5. All right, we are back. Pre-game show complete. We have got a big show today. We are going to see the seat draw, the early on jockeying for position based on the order. It is from the shortest stack to the largest first pickup, and again, two blinds. Going to, I guess, try to just maybe not get greedy and not go button or cut off. Try to go hijack or just somewhere away from early. So see how greedy he gets. He is going to.
There's
So he
there's
does sort
limited
of.
control you have over it, but I definitely like not going for the button because I think someone else is going to try to take the. He did go for the hijack, which I think makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that exactly. I like that. I like that strategy. Again, this is important, but not a lot of control when you're short. So we'll see how this kind of plays out. Again, we'll get the X if you guys retweet on Jeff Gross Poker. It's going to be 50 cash. Just guess who you think wins. Don't need to be right. Hit the retweet. We'll get that going. And this is a $350 ticket at the end of the show. We'll have keywords for you as well. I'm on my mobile setup, so bear with me. Got to kind of squint and look over and do some various things on the side, but we will get that up for you. And please let us know where you're watching from. I am in the Bahamas, and there is a tournament. So if this is quick today, I'm trying to see what time. I think I can um, get in there. There's one last bracelet event, I believe, or there's maybe even two. I got to look. So I'm just, we'll see. We'll see. This is probably not going to be a quick show, though. I have a feeling this is going to be a intense grind today with the stack so close, but you never know, right? Things change
You,
and
you never know. It can
just
it can go
never
either
know.
way, but it does seem like there's a lot of play here.
Yes. Yes. I will get your see you guys in the chat. Appreciate you checking in. My Bahamas wasn't my dream trip, but hey, that's okay. Other things as life goes, I think one of the things I will say poker has taught me, Bryan, is that it's not always something in the moment you don't have a good result or something happens. It can actually end up being a blessing. Things can turn out better. Some other things happen or different things that wouldn't have gone one way end up as we do see the seat selection sort of locked in here. As any surprises here, we see the chip leader right there on the left at Duco. So he chose that over. I mean, effectively, Boris and Duco are the same, right? The same stack. So I
Yeah,
think that
and
makes sense to be
Gus
there.
decided to have position on Duco, which I think makes a lot of sense. Duco is very aggressive and active, so having direct position on him, I think, is probably where you want to be if you get to choose.
So Bruno actually upgraded to the cutoff. He got switch place with, interestingly
Oh,
enough. So
nice. A
he
good
got
result for him. He only has like 1.5 blinds now because they just went up, right? So he's in real trouble here. But if he can just find a spot to put the chips in, he's not going to take this one because it's going to get raised from under the gun. But if it had folded to him, he probably would have.
yep,
We
he
might
would
have
have
a big
been.
hand here already. We got kings against ace king.
Yeah, it's also Duco. We know is going to open fairly wide, but again, things are pretty tight. It's not like he just gets to open crazy. And excuse me, this is going to be interesting how this plays out. As also a Yeah, that's actually this is interesting. Ace King, what he does, sizing. If this, do we see just a huge pot right away? I mean, this is kind of a nightmare spot. You're nine-handed. There's a guy with literally one blind. You have Ace King. You know Duco is going to be opening not just kings, huge hands. So like your hand's pretty big, even though it is against under the gun.
I wonder if we see him
This
just
is
flat here. I mean, they are 50 effective, and it's versus under the gun, and like if you three bet, you're kind of obligated to get the money in, and I guess that's what's going to happen. But I wouldn't have hated just flatting there. It might be a little results oriented because we can see the hands, and like you said, Duco is going to be opening a reasonably wide range here, so I don't mind the three bet either. But it wouldn't surprise me if he looked in the solutions and it had some amount of flatting here. And I'm guessing we'll just see the four bet, five bet now.
wow.
Bruno
Well, I
might actually
mean,
get that ladder.
he's got a chance, and he had the ace was there too. He's blocking. I guess these guys have effectively the same stack. Is there a world where he folds or flats? I mean, I don't know. He's almost implying like this is insane.
He
Wow.
folded. Wow, great fold. I'm very surprised to see that. I would have thought he just flat the first time around if he wasn't willing to go, uh, all the way with that one. But that was a really good fold by him. He's gonna be happy when he watches the replay and sees that one. Now we'll see if Greedy wants to ISO here. He does. So Bruno's gonna be pretty far behind. He has some chops. He has three outs, but he's not gonna be in great shape here.
Yeah, he was kind of destined to. He needs a ton of help, and now he's got no help, right? Really, I mean, he
Basically
needs
dead now, unless Greedy folds and he can hit an ace.
folds, and
But
then he hits an ace. Yeah,
Bruno is
okay.
going to take
Well,
home 3x the buy-in just for cashing here, though. I mean, that they can't have had that many more because there was only 100 people in the field, right? Something with 15 cash or something. Now we have kind of an interesting turn. Duco's got middle pair. He's got a gut shot. He's got the backdoor nut flush draw blocker. I'd imagine he'll take a river for this price. And Bruno hits his deuce, but that's not going to be good enough unless Greedy winds up bluffing the river or something.
don't see that happening. Don't want to keep Bruno alive. Give him life, extra opportunity. There is a side pot, but I mean, I guess he does have. Yeah, he's got the ace eight showdown. He's got ace eight high. He does have an eight, it's a key card, but doesn't go for it. And queen seven going to pick it up. Duco delivers the blow, eight-handed. So here we go. Nothing crazy. Bruno didn't spin it up, and
Bruno had a shot to ladder there on that ace king versus kings, but Greedy got away from the ace king, which is really an incredible fold. I think it's very difficult to fold that hand.
and actually probably lost close to the least amount possible, right? Because if he did just flat, I mean, he's gonna probably put some chips in more, but he
Depends on
did
what the
find out.
board is, but yeah, it's he
Yeah,
got away from that hand real cheap. Duco's going to take that one down with a quick limp bet, and now he is almost tied for chip lead already.
yes, we are moving. We are already down to eight, but again, very tight. This is extremely tight. Sven with 560, but everyone else is like a million to.
Jeremy going for a pretty loose open here, going into two big stacks. I think ace two off on the cutoff in this stack position is quite wide. Sven folding ace seven in the big blind. He would have flopped the best hand, but I can see why he folded. You don't want to be playing a three-way pot with two bigger stacks with that hand. And Gus is in the lead here with a pair of fives. Jeremy is drawing to two aces at this point.
Yep, fives are in the lead, hard hand to play. Goose Campos, see a little bit of his game. We saw a highlight hand. He started the day chip leader. He's right there. And, again, notes dependent. It's hard. This is one of those things I think we all, as poker players, sometimes you start out with these hands, you're like, all right, I'm going to flop a set or just not play a big pot. And then you get kind of these weird boards where you might be inclined to continue, or even look, he turns his hand into a check raise. And I like
That
this
is
because the
interesting.
hands he's flatting, he's going to put pressure on certain things. He is going to have sevens, he's going to have fours, and he's going to have some other interactive hands on this board. So he does put pressure on a hand and he gets a win. So nice play there.
Yeah, I expect him to call. The raise is an interesting option, especially with the stacks being how they are. There's a lot of room for him to put pressure on Jeremy's stack, and that's one of the reasons I didn't like the open with ace two off. It's just you're going to get flatted by one of these big stacks way too often, and then you're just going to be in a world of hurt post flop when that happens.
Absolutely. Yeah, nice hand though. Goose Campos going to work. Ace 10, Chris Rudolph, one of the more experienced players here. Martin Cabral leading day three for the record of this tournament.
Of
170 left.
course,
I mean, pretty insane. What do you think about Martin's poker game? Let's forget about
he's
other
very
things.
creative. He's willing to do a lot of different things, and he makes it tough on you. I mean, I played with him live a few times, and the constant talking really does put you kind of under a microscope when you're playing with him. I do think he picks up a decent amount of information from that. Um, because he's just very comfortable in a wide variety of different weird spots, and you're not necessarily, and he's constantly talking to you and putting you under all this scrutiny, and it can be hard to play against. So I'm not surprised to see him doing well in this tournament.
Yep. Noah Schwartz just out. Nick Schulman, Schwan Liu, Byron Caverman going out. Joni, Sam Savril, Anatoly Philotop, Ebony Kennedy, Thomas Mukoller. So down already. Just a little update. 170 left. I think they played maybe to the final table today. Goes pretty deep. A lot of big names still in the field, as you would imagine, with 170 left. And the biggest buy-in, but Martin is your chip leader. Frozjaka, Jesse Lanis, Charles Hook, Gabriel Andrade. A lot of fun action going on. There's coverage of that as well. So we are going to be playing to a winner today, and they will be playing down, I believe, to the final table, or at least to as close as they can get. So here we see ace nine on the buttons for Sven. He has got the lowest risk premium, meaning if you were to go out, it's not such a big deal, but he is opening here. And see Casper give it a little think with queen three. We know it wouldn't be the flat. Does he ever want to be three betting? He does.
He is
Wow.
three
I would
betting. This is an
not
aggressive
not when
three
you would
bet.
expect.
Wow. Yeah, no, I wasn't expecting this at all.
Yeah, that is for sure again against the shortest stack, the guy has the least to lose. And I get Sven, this is gonna be interesting how he takes this hand and folding that. I mean, it's got to be a pretty profitable three bet then if Casper is gonna get that. And again,
Yeah,
a hard
maybe
hand.
they played a lot of hands together and Casper had a read on him or something. But I mean, I guess it just looks incredibly strong. And Sven folding ace nine. I mean, ace nine, he's not going to be opening the button a ton there, so it's not like ace nine is super high in his range, but that is like a pretty good button hand. So it's if he's folding that, then Casper's got to be making a lot of money on three bets like that. We got the king nine mirror matchup here, but the in position player with the suited hand is more likely to win the pot, I think.
All right, ace king again on the button, 8-9 suited for Duco. A hand where, it's a final table. You're basically tied for chip lead. You open nine high. You definitely want to generally have bigger cards, bigger hands. Like this is one where it's cool to get through, or whatever. But you are going to run into big hands, eight-handed. So he does just get out of the way though. Doesn't make a meal that folds.
I
Trying to
think I
trying to
think when
get
he has
things
this many
momentum.
chips, he can afford to open hands like that, and the stacks are even enough that nobody's really going to go like too far out of their way to attack his opens, I think. And he just ran into a big hand there and got out of the way. But yeah, generally at final tables, you want to have more of these like high card oriented hands. You don't want to play the suited connectors as much. Sven picking up a much needed pot there with a king 10 suited. We have a couple of
Yeah.
playable hands here. Jack 9 suited versus Queen 10 suited. Assuming Jeremy folds his 7-6.
Yeah, nice looking PLO combo, the Jack 9, Queen 10 of hearts, as we see interaction here. Pretty big flop for both. I mean, Queen 10 suited, making top pair and some nice backdoor situation. Jack 9 suited, gut shot, backdoor clubs. So definitely both players are interested in the board. And GTO Wizard comes in with the recommendation, was saying to check and then recommend to bet small, which we did see. And now we're kind of just catching up, I think, to the call and now the
Yeah,
turn.
the check call. I think in chip EV, you might be check raising here a little bit more, or shallower stacks, you'd be check raising. But in this final table situation, you don't really want to make a huge pot even with a hand as good as this. You'd rather play a small pot. And we'll see if Duco goes for value here or if he decides to check and play his hand as a bluff catcher. He does check. Now Boris has the opportunity to represent that he hit the king. And I don't think we'll see Duco folding this one.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, although to be fair, the board, that's definitely not one of the better cards, right? The king of diamonds. So you do now lose to random king X's, you lose to flushes, but you also could have been beat already. But I would expect to see a call. But again, the whole card bias is tough, man. Right. But you got to put yourself in the
It is,
position.
yeah. I mean, it's
And
not like a
then
trivial easy call or anything, but he is going to
yeah.
find the call. There's just too many potential bluffs. Boris is going to have a whole bunch of hands like this that just missed and have to bluff now. And I think that he made a good call there.
Nice hand, Duco. We see as GTO Wizard is a little bit frozen, a little behind. We're trying to get that kinks out for you. GTO Wizard, such a powerful tool, so cool to see, and we're gonna get you hopefully more of that. There, is that still frozen on your screen there for you? Where you see that
Yeah,
check?
I see it for now, but
Yeah,
it's refreshing now, so
got it.
they're gonna get it working. We got a good team working behind the scenes here.
Yes, they got it. They're getting it tidied up, and we will keep it rolling as we see Ace Nine. Boris came in with the plan today. He's going to work. He's opening hands. He's playing. Guys are going for it. As we see, that's the case. This is wide open final table. Going to be very, very curious who gets to pull this away with the win. It's just super tight. Everything we saw that two blind stack go out of the way. We're down to 8, and we are seeing Ace Nine start betting, missing 7-8 off. Can't imagine going anywhere yet.
No, he's definitely he did raise that other hand with the 5, so he might actually throw in a curveball raise here, but I certainly can't see him folding. He does just call. That's a good turn for him, obviously. It's not
Oh
just a
yeah,
good turn for his hand, it's a good turn for his range. You might see a small lead here. There's a lot of small leading on these types of turns. He does go for the check. Usually you see the big blind go for like a 20% pot lead on the turn here. He's just gonna have way more sevens in his range, and there's gonna be a lot of checking back from the razor. So it's a very common small lead spot on the turn with like a wide variety of hands. Didn't go for it this time though, and we'll see how much value he tries to go for on the river. He checks and try to get Boris to bluff this one. Boris is not going to oblige him. I'm not sure if he really missed on much value there by not leading, but it is kind of surprising to see him check that hand twice instead of trying to bet somewhere. Sven's got a nice one in the big blind here. I don't know if he's going to get any action though.
and I gotta say, I've poker's a very funny game where you can play what you believe to be well or have, not great results when you're locked in. And then there's times where you can maybe be tired or out of it or just run well. Like this is, I'm sure you played. I don't know how you would give your pie chart of poker in your life. Maybe you could give a guess what you think you've played online to live. I know primarily online, right? Would you
Yeah,
say it's
mostly online.
90 or 90, 85, 95 of your poker? How much would you say is live
Yeah,
to
so
online?
probably something like over 90% online for sure.
So let's just take online. How many days you've put a full Sunday in? You obviously you've streamed on Twitch and you put a long hours in, and how many of the times where you sometimes you feel like you have a really bad day results wise, but you're like, wow, I played well today, or times where you maybe don't. It's just funny because it ultimately is so results oriented, right? That's like
Oh
especially
yeah,
for like a
all the
live
time.
short sample. It's tough.
Yeah,
You go
I'll
home
feel
and
like I played not my
yeah,
best and I'll crush, and then sometimes I'll feel like I played great and I just can't win the big flips. And you have to do both. And it's really
yeah,
just about the long term and just how you can maximize the amount of time you're playing well. And it's a constant struggle because there's so many different things you have to kind of calibrate, and it's really just it's like driving a complex vehicle where you just have to make sure all the stuff is aligned, and it's not easy to do. But yeah, in the short term, the luck really takes precedence, I think.
yes, that's exactly right. It's interesting because live is so different than online. Whereas online you might have 5 to 25 tournaments in a day you could play or 50. Whereas live you get one or two, in a
Yep.
week you might get 4 to 6 tournaments, right? So it's
It's
like
a tough adjustment if you're used to
it
playing
is.
online. Online you'll have
Yeah,
20, 30 chances and you just need to make runs in like 3 to 5 of them and you feel like you had a pretty good day. And live you can go 3 weeks and nothing happens and you're just like, man, I'm getting crushed. But it's like not really. I mean, you're just playing 10 tournaments and not getting anything going. It's pretty normal in the terms of variance and the way things work.
yeah, it's a great
An
point
interesting
as you.
board here. Both players have the
Ooh,
backdoor flush draw.
mm,
And Greedy actually has the straight draw here, although the big blind is going to generally have more of these types of low boards. So Greedy's in a really good spot here where he gets to actually have the stuff that Chris is going to try to represent. And if the flush comes in, then Chris is in big, big trouble. Now Greedy really wants to see a club or a tour of 7 would be great for him too, because that's another type of thing that Chris is going to try to represent. A queen might shut down the action, and Greedy might win a small pot. Or I mean, it's already a medium-sized pot, but if Chris fires another bluff here, he's probably going to get it through.
Now tell me about the bluff on the river with missed flush draw when you have the front door versus back door flush draw. What would be if you had Jack eight of hearts versus Jack eight of clubs? How big a difference does that make?
Well, the flop did the flop go check check?
There was a I think it was a small bet. I don't have my set. I can't look at the I did not see the flop action.
We were talking about variance during the
Yeah.
flop, so
Yeah,
it does depend on whether the flop goes. Because if the flop gets bet, then I think he's a little more likely to have the hearts. But um, in both cases, I guess for Chris, if you're going to be bluffing the river, you'd rather not have either flush draw because you want your opponent to have called the turn with a flush draw, and then they're more
right.
likely to river.
And I do we see this sweat on the river. Great bluff. I think having it's tough to have the clubs there, call ace high, but you do block the straight. And although it's just a tough, very interesting hand. I want to say it's official on the 25K Super Main. It's the 8th biggest tournament of all time. 72
Wow.
million, $275,000 prize pool, 2,891 entries, 10 million for first. Whoa,
Jeez.
big numbers there as we see that. We're going to recalibrate the GTO Wizard. Do want to give them a shout out for being an awesome integration of the show and sponsor. And we're going to have to get that calibrated. There's been some movement from the production, the team, and getting that situated. So we want to make sure we're giving the right info and smoothly when we do put
It's hard
that
to
out.
do, because they gotta figure it out
Yeah,
with the ICM, and it's constantly adjusting and everything. And sometimes you have to run the AI solves for the ICM spots, and it's really hard to do in real time.
absolutely. I do want to also mention Michael Mizrachi, Grinding in Paradise Daily Vlog. This is out on the GG YouTube channel, so make sure you guys give that a view as it is a Grinding in Paradise. And it's more following Michael with his family, his brothers. There's all kinds of cool stuff. A little less, I would say, hand histories or poker knowledge. It's more kind of fun and free flowing. Daniel obviously doing the vlogs and having a lot of hand analysis and showing action at the table. So make sure you guys give that a check out. That is on the Adventures on the Island as well as the Last Longer Yet. So make sure you check that out. Very cool. Love to see Grinder dive into the content world and having fun after winning the main. What a feeling. I mean, that's just something else. I guess this is 10 million. This is going to be one of the biggest first place payouts ever as well, right? 10 million to first. I mean, even in the main, it's not always
Yeah,
10
it's like
million.
another vein. We got a
Yeah.
huge pot brewing here. We got Greedy three betting pre, flopping a big combo draw. Chris now turning two pair. This is we'll see how the turn plays out, but if Greedy bets again, he's certainly going to get called.
Yeah, this could be night for him. He does have a nice semi bluff hand. He's blocking the nuts. He has the nut flush draw with a key card, and I don't know. I think you're absolutely right. I guess does he ever check back, take his equity, take the jack or the club,
He
and
might.
slow it
I
down?
mean, Chris did raise and then call pre, so he's going to have a lot of two pairs, a lot of king jack, that sort of thing. He
He's
goes for
going
the
for it.
bluff, and Chris is not folding, I'd imagine.
He is saying good luck. He is in a good situation. He actually has a club, so he does block. You can see a clean 3-1 favorite. Is it green? Is it a jack? It is
The
the
jack.
jack. It's not green,
Oh
but the
man,
J
brutal.
is not okay for Mr. Rudolph there. That is a nasty hand, nasty run out. GGPoker, it kind of felt like he was going to hit it. He got off ace king, nine-handed on the button versus Duco against aces right away. That would have been almost an injustice, I think, to be out next after kind of fading what was a death trap. So yeah,
Yeah,
pretty sick hand.
kind of
Did get
surprised
a
to see him
lucky
three
hit
bet there
there.
with a suited king. It seems like a pretty standard call. Um, but the post flop I think made a lot of sense. And that's always sick on GG because you can kind of see the river. They do that thing where they like you sweat the river and you can kind of like peel the card, so you can see that it's not the club, and you're like, oh, I'm good. And then you see it's a jack, and it's like, oh man, I'm not good. And Sven doing the small three bet here with ace jack offsuit, a pretty good hand to do it with. Good blockers, not quite good enough to go all in with, but I don't think we'll see Jeremy four bet from under the gun here against the short stack. He does. Huh? The min four bet. Sven's actually got the best hand here. He's getting 6-1 with position, but the chips are not created equal at final table situations. Each additional chip you invest can be treacherous when you're facing potential elimination. He does take a flop. And he's still got the best hand, but unfortunately for him, if Jeremy puts pressure on post flop, he's going to have a real hard time continuing.
Ace-9 suited.
He goes for the
This is
20% pot c-bet. It's a quick fold, and Jeremy throwing us a curveball there. I did not expect him to 4-bet that hand. He just immediately did. So you see some higher level stuff at these final tables. That's why I always love doing these. You learn so much watching these guys play for this big money. Very nice pickup for Jeremy there. We'll see if Chris tries to go for the 3-bet here with King Queen. It would be a very similar hand to the one we just saw Sven do with Ace Jack. He does not. Jeremy is going to see a flop of 4-6 offsuit. I think this is the type of hand you normally want to fold a little bit more at final tables. I think this is a pretty standard call in chip EV. But in final tables, these hands can get you in a lot of trouble if you try to take them post flop. And he's just going to lose the only the call pre flop there.
And I do want to remind everyone the X post that is on Jeff Gross Poker pinned. You guys can retweet and guess who wins. Don't need to be correct. Gonna give 50 cash. I will do that at the end of the show today. I got to catch up from last week as well. And there is also 3 tickets to give away. Guys must hit the thumbs up, must be subscribed. And then we'll give the keywords at the end of the show. I'm going to go ahead and pull that up again. I'm on my laptop, so don't have my normal setup, a little harder to get across everything, but we are going to call to a winner. And Brian Paris joins again for the second time in his, was it 3 weeks? Is this week 2 weeks? And then Mr.
It was on
Wasserman
2 weeks ago, yeah.
2 weeks ago, not last weekend. Wasserman was on. And again, Mid Stakes Mastery. I'll get a link in the chat for you guys, but that is a course that you are, is that co-creator, co-founder? Is that, can you tell us a little more about
Me and Mike have been
that?
working on it for years at this point, but it's over 40 hours of content, expanding across everything you're going to need to know to beat mid stakes, both online and live. So we cover everything from ICM.
What would you call mid stakes today? Because things have changed online over the years.
Online, probably like anything between 55 to 215, I guess. And then for live, maybe like the 1 to 3K range. We got both players playing a small pot here. We see Gus continuing to check with a lot of hands that have some showdown value, but he's maybe trying to induce bluffs from his opponent. He has a pretty good hand here. He's got the top pair basically with the ace kicker. He probably will go for some value with the river now. But he did check twice with those trip sevens, so he might surprise us.
Yeah, Ace Jack. I mean, you feel pretty good here. He's going for
big value.
Who's Campos? I gotta say, his price was a little bit, for I guess pricing in the not experienced compared to some of the other players. As we see the blind level kick up upper left, you can see that every 20 hands. And we are, it's showing us he seems to play pretty well so far, from what I've seen.
Yeah, I think he went a little too big on the river there. It's hard to get paid for that much, but he might, he's up against a player who's, probably prone to making big hero calls, so he might have just been trying to go for the maximum there. And we got a big spot here. I mean, Gus got away from eights real easy because Jeremy raised and got 3-bet in front. And Jeremy is going to be way behind here. Does not go for the 4-bet that time. Gets away with just the raise fold. And Duco is going to be slightly, not quite, he's still down by 1K against Gus. But they're basically even in chips now. And I think we're going to see a shove from Sven here and a fold from Duco.
Yeah, Sven getting a decent spot. And this is a problem when you get short. This kind of happened to me in this Superman where you get these like decent spots, sixes in a similar place here if you like shove where you don't have much fold equity, you get short, you're gonna end up being against hands where you're slightly ahead or flipping and you just have to win it or you're out, right? So it's like here he actually gets a pretty good spot, whereas
I
the
think he's going
King
to get a
10
fold this
for
time.
is
Final
yeah.
tables, you are a little. Oh, he doesn't
Wow.
actually. I
Doesn't
was going to say final
fold. There
tables,
you
you're a little
go.
more likely to get the fold there.
Taxi, Houston, King 10, Ace Jack. King 10 off needs help now. The spade, such a good turn for Ace Jack. Has to hit a King 10 non spade. 4 outs. Not it. Board pairs. Sven back in the game, even with a few other stacks. So things have kind of shaped up here. Little Duco and Goose Campos are your chip leaders. Then you got a bunch of million stacks, and then you got a couple 700. So
Yeah, kind of surprised to see Duke call with King 10 off there. That seems a little bit wide, but I guess he figures he's opening the cutoff like ridiculously wide, so he has to defend it a little bit more. Wouldn't be a surprising call on chippy, but in the final table, it's a little surprising. And Sven now with about 20 big blinds, Queen 10 suited, very playable hand. Last time he opened the button, we saw Casper 3-bet him with Queen 3 off. This time he has a better hand, King 3 off. We'll see if he goes for it again. He does not. And Chris has an offsuit ace in the big blind. This is the type of hand you can jam over button open sometimes. But I think Sven is going to be opening a little bit tighter in this spot. He does still go for the jam. Just having an ace against a button open is just a very powerful thing because it makes it that much less likely your opponent has an ace, and so many of their calls are involved having an ace. Casper now has got a pretty playable hand, but he's in a tough chip position to continue with it. He could go for a 3-bet fold. I don't know if he quite has enough to flat. He has a little bit over 20 big blinds. I mean, this is the sort of hand you definitely want to flat in chip EV, but at a final table and there's two shorter stacks, it can get you in some trouble to flat here. So I'm interested to see how he continues here. He goes for the small 3-bet, which I think makes a lot of sense. And Gus has a playable hand, but not a hand that plays particularly well, getting 3-bet out of position, and he gets away from it. So a good 3-bet there from Casper. A little too much to shove, not quite enough to flat, so he goes for the 3-bet. We got a blind versus blind spot here. Both players with a suited queen. And Boris opts to check there, which I think is a totally fine option. Greedy's actually going to be in the lead here with top pair. This is a board that I think you want to start with a check very often. You have top pair, but it's still just like so low and connected, and your opponent's going to
yeah.
call with a lot of 2 overcard hands. But he does bet and takes it down, which is a good outcome for him. We saw Jeremy defend with the 4-6 offsuit earlier, so he's not going to fold the 8-9. He's got a decent hand here. He's got a gut shot. He's got overs to the 6. And Sven has a pretty good hand, but this might be a board he throws a checking on. No, he is going to go for the small bet.
This is always curious to me. These are really hard hands to play
It's
when
tough to
you're
play, right? Because it's kind of like king or no, and you have way more ace highs and way more like medium pocket pairs than you have king X's. And then your hand also checks pretty well. But it kind of just comes down to how often you expect to get check raised out of the big one. Now, not a good turn for Sven. He still has good showdown, but he does not block a spade. And now that's a great river for him. And a pretty poor river for Jeremy to try to bluff on. So I think we'll see check bet fold.
Yeah, this is interesting. I mean, really good board for the ace queen to run out, but a nice play, nice way to. He's done a good job chipping up. He's avoided a few spots. He did pass the ace nine, which was very close. The queen three Casper, interesting to note. Queen three off, definitely one that not often we'll see that attack. I actually really like it, although it's you know not normal. I would say it's definitely pushing the boundaries there, but I think it was a really cool exploit, and he
It was
made
well
a
placed.
nice.
Yeah, I mean, it
Yeah.
worked exactly how it was designed to because he used a really small sizing. He got a fold on ace nine offsuit, I think. I'm not faulting him for folding ace nine offsuit. That is a very difficult hand to defend against a three bet with, even in position at a final table. But you kind of got like a textbook example of how that exploit is designed to work with a hand like queen three. And the sizing was really good too because he only made it 5 big blinds, so he's only risking about what's in the pot to win. So it has to work half the time. And if he's folding on ace nine off, it's probably working half the time at least. Interesting spot here. Duco with top pair. Jeremy has a open-ended straight draw. Only 7 outs because Duco is a king. But if the king does come, we're going to see some fireworks. 4 on the turn doesn't really help Jeremy. In some spots, you'd see the person who called the preflop later raise lead here, but I don't think this is a good spot for that because a lot of Duco's bluffs preflop are going to actually have a 4 in them. He'll raise the limp with hands like 9-4 offsuit and things like this. So I don't think Jeremy actually has an advantage around the 4 here. So he does agree with me and he checks, and now Duco gonna bet twice. And Jeremy in a tough spot here. He still has his open-ended straight draw, but he's facing a half pot bet. He's out of position. There's a flush draw on the board. He does not have an overcard. I think all of this adds up to a fold. And Duco getting back into the tie for the chip lead here. He's got a nice one, ace queen suited. See if he decides to 3-bet and commit. I imagine that's his line of action here. He does just flat. I think that was the next option I was going to say is flatting.
Yep.
And they both have a pair, but it's a board that should be played a little more slowly, a monotone flop. These textures tend to get played a little bit more cautiously on both sides. And we'll see if Chris even wants to call one here. He does have a pair, but he's out of position. 3 spades on the board. Even if he hits his ace or something, he could be up against King Jack or something like this. Yeah, he does get out of the way. So 3 winds up winning. I think 3-bet call, pre-flop, and flat are both pretty reasonable options. And he went with the flat that time. Chris with 10s now. And Sven has an ace in the big blind, but this is one of the aces you might actually wind up folding.
Yeah, it's not very appetizing. Like you just when you're behind, you do call. So here's like best case, one of the better case scenarios, obviously flopping like ace three or the wheel or something or 3-3, but here he does flop the ace, and this is sort of the problem. There is that time where you're against the ace jack, ace queen, ace king, ace
Right.
10 that's beating you, but as played with the tens and the heart, these are always tricky, right? Because it's
It is. Yeah, he's got the
is
best
your
hand, and
opponent.
he's not likely to win a big pot. He's likely to win a small pot. And that's the problem with this sort of hand. I don't think it's necessarily a fold, but you do see solutions at final tables where it wants to fold some of the weaker ace X's out of the big blind. And in this case, I think their stacks are close enough that he might have thought he wasn't going to get pushed around too
Let's
much.
talk about this though. Let's say your opponent does have a hand like, King 10 of hearts or whatever, some hand that just puts pressure that does not have the ace, but you're the downside player dependent. What styes would you consider folding a turn bet here too if he did barrel here?
That's
And
real tough if he bets again on the turn. I mean, you are in a world of hurt, especially because you're still in that position where you can outlast some of the other short stacks. But the key here, I think, is that Chris doesn't have a whole lot more chips in him, so Chris is not really able to go bananas on multi-barrels. If he was up against one of the bigger stacks here, he might be more inclined to fold his hand pre-flop because those big stacks can really just put on as much pressure as they want to post-flop.
Yeah, it's a
and
great
it doesn't
point.
cost them nearly as much as it costs you.
But at the same time, if it's small blind, big blind, or button versus the big stack too, like realizing he might just have the best hand. I mean, there's a chance he even just plays more aggressively. Now tens as played, you block 10 jack, you just have showdown against 8 and 6 and beat hearts. So I guess you just check, right? Even though you have
Yeah, he had enough showdown
yeah.
against like you said, an 8 and 6. So I think both players played the hand well. So I'd imagine we'll see it fold around a Duco, and he's probably going to open this hand and win uncontested. Unless Caspar wants to 3-bet with the queen 3 off again. Somehow I don't see him doing it this time. He calls, all right. Was not expecting that one. I think this is the type of hand at a final, especially when you're 5 of 8 or whatever. This is a really difficult hand to realize equity with against the big stack. I can't say I'm a fan of the call here pre-flop, but he does have very impressive results, so I'm not going to argue them.
All right, queen 10 suited under the gun, raising. We are 8-handed, and he is going to go ahead and shoot up. A lot of suited hands here. Suited king 9, suited king 7. Can't really get in there with the king 9 suited, small blind versus under the gun raise, and very vulnerable stack. King 7 suited, shortest stack, risk premium, low, defends, has the best
Got the
hand
best
pre-flop.
hand, but it's
Still has
hard
the
to.
best hand
He
though.
might check if he was up against a later position raise. This would make a pretty good board to check raise, as long as he's got the backdoor flush draw, the overcard, and the backdoor straight draw. I
Hmm.
don't know if he's going to do it against under the gun.
Yeah, especially seeing the ace king fold earlier too. This guy's playing locked in, solid. But yeah, let's see. Maybe reason to do that then. Thinking he's just gonna play super tight, but let's see.
Yeah, it's harder to check raise against under the gun. But I think if he was up against like cutoff or hijack there, we might have seen some check raising on that board.
I actually was rushing around before the show today, and I'm in the Bahamas, so I was gonna bet some in-game client stuff. I didn't get in, which makes it super fun to do. I think I would have. I don't even know. I like to bet a few people, but I didn't have a strong feeling today anyway on anyone. It just seemed really tight and hard to call. Yeah, I don't have any very. I think Duco is a great bet just from the experience
Yeah,
standpoint.
dude. I mean, Duco's been here so many times, and he knows how to put the pressure on in the right spots. And you've already seen him playing great. He's already taken the chip lead from starting in third.
Yeah,
Smeth's made a
I
nice
think I would
comeback
have
though. He
faded. I would have
came in
faded
pretty short.
Goose Campos. I would have faded him just because of inexperience, but he's played pretty well too so
Well,
far.
especially if you're betting on the win, like
Yeah,
someone might finish top three, which is still like a great result. But if you're betting on them to actually win, then they have to get through a heads up match. They have to get through a prolonged 3-handed match, and those things require a lot of nuance and finesse and things like this against very experienced players. It'd be really hard to win in those spots.
okay. Jack 10, Queen 9, both players hitting. And Queen 9, Duco finds himself again. Best position, best hand for a very healthy pot that is likely going his way almost always here. He has to fade a 10 or a jack. Can't imagine, as the showdown with Boris has, he's really in a good position to win this hand too. Just a matter if he wants to bet again or not. And, I think the answer is probably a lot of draws, top pair here against the big blind. Probably aren't going to get 3 streets. Maybe want
It's
to
interesting
go,
with Queen Nine because you block some of the straight draws.
yeah.
And it's a full rainbow board, which means there's less like backdoors and things to worry about. So I could go either way on this one. Better check the turn and try to get money on the river. I think both options are reasonable. He does go for the second barrel, and Boris quickly folds middle pair. So maybe he would have been better off checking there, but easy to say when you can see both hands, of course.
Yep. That's a great point. Also, the size. I do like the size. I think it likely that was made up his mind. If he got called there, he'd probably check back river on the most rivers.
I would
Goes
think so.
for
Yeah.
you think he yeah on the yeah
I
depending.
think he gets called on the turn there. He's checking the river.
Yep. As Boris does pick up the jack nine there. I didn't see what size he went with. It just happened quickly, but he does put pressure on Jeremy, knowing there's some very short stacks and he's similar stacks, so he does leverage that. And we go blind on blind. And this is not fun when you get the chip leader experience talent on your left and you kind of have these hands. You know
Yeah, he
you're going
just
to get
folds
punched
with
there a
the
lot.
Jack 2 suited. And I mean, I can't really blame him, but I think that's a hand you're supposed to at least try to limp with.
Right. Yeah, it comes down to that. It's just in a vacuum what to do, and I think like kind of indicative of what we expect. What I would believe at this point, so kind of he might just trap, right? He's like basically going to fold his kind of that type of hand quality, all the worst hands, even the middling type hands, not looking to get involved. And then of course he's going to try to trap a big hand and get him in there,
I don't know
maybe
if you
limp
remember,
game
but 2 weeks
over.
ago we saw, I think it was Sven, he limp jammed Jack 3 suited in a spot like that. They were only like 12 effective, I think, but it was against a big stack. And he had Jack 3
Yeah,
suited.
that's actually a great play. It's a great that is like to take it to the opposite direction on that, right? You just know that that's probably going to happen, and you can look, you can kind of fake strong there, right?
Yeah,
And do
there's
that
two
by
ways to approach it. You know, you can be like, oh, I'm gonna get raised, I better be careful, or you can be like, oh, I'm gonna
yeah,
get raised, I'm just gonna shove and he's not gonna call me.
right. With these semi type hands that are like not strong, but they actually have a little bit of playability. So if worst case you run into it, you have some outs sometimes, and yeah, that is a creative way to look at it.
It was a little bit shorter stacks in the hand I'm referencing, so I'm not saying that Jeremy should have done it there or anything, but
Yep.
it was an interesting hand that came to mind when I saw that.
Yeah,
So
we
we
are
got
sweating
some.
along as well in paradise. The day three here, a lot of big names in the field and record setting eighth largest ever, 7,400 people uh, are watching and sweating as well. Again, I listen, it's on brand, it's part of the deal. WSOP, you guys can maybe put on a multi-view screen on YouTube. There is a 7,400 people watching. That is exciting to see that poker again is it's a big deal, big tournament, 10 million to first. So again, hope you're getting a check on that as well. And after our show does finish today, you guys can definitely shoot over there. So again,
It's really
great
great to
to
see the growth of live poker after all these years. Some of us thought that poker was going to kind of fizzle out after the initial boom, and but people are still playing the game. It's just a really good game. There's just so much depth to it and so many different strategies and approaches you can take. It's just a fantastic game, and it's really interesting to see how it's evolved and grown over the years. So we got
it's
Casper defending with another weak hand against Duco. It's the second one of these he's made so far, and neither of them have worked out for him. They're both standard defense and chippy, even at final tables, I would have expected him to see him fold both those hands. Duco is keeping the pressure on here with the Jack 7 suited, and why not? This hand is reasonably playable for the hijack. It's certainly the bottom of what you want to open with, but it's not out of the question or anything. And Sven's got the best hand on the button, but he's gonna have a real hard time continuing here.
Yeah, Jack seven suited. I mean, just kind of all working right now for Duco. He's kind of getting the perfect hands behind where they kind of want to play, but they're not strong enough. And he's picking up, getting the raise again, separate himself as chip leader. It's just kind of one of those things where timing's so important too. Understanding where you're at, what you can do, how wide you can open, and then realizing if you have a hand that you're looking to you're if for value or if you're just going to open and fold. We saw him go for the 8-9 suited hand, right? And not get caught into like, okay, I open, I like the hand, I'm going to play it to a 3-bet out of position. He seems like he's very well calculated and just kind of knows what he's going to do.
Yeah,
Acts
that's
quickly
the
in
key with the
spots.
big stack is you have to know when and where to apply pressure. You can't just go nuts and start trying to own everyone every spot. You have to just take the easy chips where you can get them and know when to get away. And Duco's done a great job of that.
Yes.
And I think we're going to see a call here. We are indeed. So we have a flip.
Wow. Yeah, nines to ace jack. And there's the ace. Sven with the big hit there against his fellow Austrian flag. And the river needs a 9-9 only.
That's not a 9.
Not a 9. It's a diamond, and it is a queen of that. So Sven really running it up here. Started out a little bit on the shorter side again. No one's super short. 20 blinds, I believe, to be exact, as we do continue. 7-handed blinds are up 20K 40. Upper left of your screen, lower left, you see the payouts, the positions, and we will go up as we see 7-handed. Every 20 hands, blinds are up, and things are also separating a tiny bit, but still no like
Duco's taking a
runaway.
little bit more of a lead, but yeah, it's still anyone's game here. Sven's made a really big comeback. I mean, he came in with 20 bigs and he's up to 40 now after a couple of blind increases. Other than that, no huge surprises so far. I mean, Bruno was the first one out, which we all expected. Nothing against him, but 2 big blinds is hard to be anything else. Duco flopping top pair. Greedy's actually going to bet this hand, which I find interesting. You'd expect to see him betting a little more with like 5s and 3s and deuces. I think 8s is kind of like in the middle where you have some showdown, but not a whole lot of like bluff potential. We'll see if he decides to run like a really big bluff here. He might get it through, but he's gonna have to bet all 3 streets, and I don't know if he's willing to do that.
Yeah, that's a great point. A7, 8s, he's got no diamonds.
I don't think Duco is folding the turn unless it's an enormous sizing. There's the check, and now I think that this board is just much more favorable for Duco. Greedy doesn't block anything relevant like a Jack 10 or diamond or anything like that, so I think we'll see Duco either bet really small or check. He does go for the check, and now Greedy is going to have to either bet enormous or give it up.
Yeah, A7 has himself a winner. I think 8s, it's, yeah, just, you don't love it, but you kind of, you're sort of handcuffed
Yeah, I didn't
there.
really like the flop bet for him either. I think if you have 2s, 3s, or 5s, then it makes a lot more sense because then you can try to put pressure on the higher pocket pairs and you can pick up the backdoor straight draw. But with 8s, it's like you already beat some of the mediocre pocket
Yep.
pairs. You have some showdown. I think you just check 8s on the flop.
Yeah, it's another great point and something to think about at home. I'd say that's worth noteworthy. What's any great swap stories, pieces yourself? Have you had any kind of
I had
savers or
1%
something
of Joe in 2015.
Oh, Kata?
No, McKeon.
Oh, McKeon. That's right. Joe Kata was much earlier. Was that 9, I think?
Yeah, '09. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's my
I got
best
one.
swap. I don't know if I'm ever going to do better than that, but that was a good one.
That's sick. I have 1% of Kata on this. I don't know if he's still in because we did a swap during he was a guest here. So let me see. He definitely cashed. I'm gonna take a look. Some of these guys are just amazing at big like these main events and fields. Like even Moneymaker's been having great results in a lot of these,
It's
going
a
3-4.
different skill set, playing like the smaller high roller fields versus playing these like big wide open fields. It's a much more exploitive sort of style that you need to succeed in big fields like the main event in this.
Mm-hmm.
You got to really like farm a whole bunch of chips off the recreational players, and then once you get deeper, you can make something happen with those. Whereas in the high roller fields, it's much more about like knowing the opponents and doing things that are like tailored to their specific game.
Yeah, Corey Aldemar got his second. I'm just looking at the chip counts here. He did go out. He got 70K cash for 158. Corey got a bracelet this week. Chris Moneymaker, speaking of him, did go out. He also cashed 70K and 155th, I think. So Joe Kata is still in at the moment. You know who else is playing out of his mind? I just feel like he won the high roller at the Triton last year for 12 million. Alejandro Lococo. He's been
Oh
playing
yeah,
great. Fun guy. He's got chips again. Felipe Ramos, GG. Ambassador in there. We got Jonathan Jaffe, Nick Petrangelo, Ryan Shamas is in the mix. DK, a regular Dijon Kalajervic. I played with him the other day. He has got chips. He's been on here frequently. Nacho Barbero. Joe Kata, 79th right now. Is 30 bigs, 79th place.
oh
So
nice. That's your
yeah,
live
he's in
then.
there. Got a little swap. Got a couple swaps still in. Yeah, very exciting. Very exciting time. This is here. It's right in the background, in the backyard going on, and we are Again, playing to a winner here. We won't get to a winner in that live tournament today, but we will get deep, and there is coverage on WSOP on GG on the I'm sorry, WSOP on the YouTube channel. So that is
This is the
going
third
down
time
live, guys.
Kaspar's defended with trash against a Duco Open, and all three of them he's just getting wrecked. I don't like the approach here to his big blind defense.
Definitely a guy that goes for it a bit. We saw the queen three off three bet. Someone who's not afraid to kind of mix it in, and
Oh,
he
now
is
he's
going to
check
come
raising.
and
That's
attack now. I
man,
guess if you're going to
this
play,
guy's way out there. I did like the queen three bet. I think that was cool, but I don't know. We'll see how this plays out for him. But this it seems like he's getting a little bit too out of line with his big blind defense.
yep. Let's
He
see what he
might be
does
able to pull
here.
this one off if he bets all three streets. But he did pick up a gut shot, but he doesn't have a club blocker or anything. So we'll see. Looks like he is going for it. I don't know
Wow,
if we'll see Duco
banking
fold just yet. He does still have middle pair. It's not a great middle pair or anything.
does call. These are the most fun hands in poker. You have a plan. It actually may work. You do fall through. You know, the queen nine misses, king queen misses.
Kind of
Put
has to
pressure on the
bet the
10.
river now. I mean, I think once he's here, he can't really give up now.
Yeah, yeah. I think
And it
that's
might
the
work. I
plan.
mean, Duco's gonna have to really dig deep to find the call in the river now.
Does he just
Well,
rip
if he
it?
pulls this off, he's gonna make back all of his money from these other big blind flats. So
Wow. But does Duke go? Does he just get sticky? Does he put that toffee
I
pudding
mean,
on
he'd
and
have to
just
have a
put
read on
him
him to call this
in?
hand because this is like a pretty shitty bluff catcher in theory. I mean, your opponent's check raise bet all three. He can have all the jacks. You have a nine in your hand, which blocks some of the like queen nine and gut shots and things that missed. But if he's played a lot with Kaspar, and you know these guys at the high rollers, they do play a lot together. He might know that he's prone to just taking these like super heroic check raise three barrel lines with absolutely nothing. So we'll see.
This
We'll
this
see.
should be
I'd be
special.
surprised if he finds a call. I think this is going to work, but Duco is, you know, he's very good and he's probably got some history here, so he might find it.
Wow, he's in the tank. I think he might get. I think he might pick it. I think he might go for it,
He
man. He saw
might.
the
He
queen.
might.
He
This
might
is
get
one
it
of the
done.
bigger hands we've seen so far, and I mean, if he finds the call here, I'll be very impressed because it's not an easy call by any means. This is not like a theoretically. Uh, you have to have a read on your opponent for being out of line to make this call, basically.
And I do just put a link if you guys want to get 50 cash. Just guess who wins and retweet that link. That's Jeff Gross Poker pinned on X. Good luck to you and three $50 GG tickets. End of the stream as we see a high level poker hand going on. 8 high, put it on the line. Gotta love that. You gotta love it. This is why this is the best in poker, the best players, and they are playing. Something has to give. Great bluff. Is it a great call? You can see it. It hurts him. He just feels it that he's good. Backdoor clubs, check raise miss. You're right. The nine, not a great one to have. Does he just get to have Jack X and punish you here? Is this player capable? He
Oh, he
calls.
called!
He can do it. Duco can do
Beautiful
it.
call.
Man, I just had to. I knew to bet Duco the start of the show. What nice hand, good sportsmanship. This is all in all a highlight hand. This is what you love to see the players doing at this level. I mean, it's just
That
just
was a hell of a
class
call, man.
sportsmanship.
That is
Hell of a
not an
call,
easy
hell of a
call to
bet.
make.
Hats off, caps off, and I'm fired up. I'm hoping the show today ends early too. There is a closer turbo bounty bracelet event, and it's very close. That B Paris, I might have to actually text one in to the team. I may actually ask you to finish it. If I'm missing late reg by like
Yeah,
10
sure.
minutes, I
If you
might have
need
to
me to
run
finish it,
down
I
there,
can do
man.
it.
I'm gonna
I don't
see.
want you
I'm
to
gonna
miss out on a bracelet chance.
it's just so close. Like I actually could have subbed in fully today and just gone and played it, but I really do try not to miss the GG Millions, even though like they're very, very
Honestly, these
accommodating
are
and
very educational to watch too. I always feel
yeah.
like I do better after commenting on them
Yeah,
because
it almost
just to
feels
see
like
how these
that's
guys
that's
play.
the sauce to come in off a show into a bracelet event. Like how often you get to do that? I think I'm gonna make. I'm not even. I might not even ask permission. Actually, I am asking, but I'm gonna ask if maybe I could run over there and make sure I don't miss because I do want to play that today, and I'm gonna see what they think. But it might just be over, right? That's like I got like an hour and 40 minutes to reg. That's
We're
probably a
already
pretty
down to
good over,
six. I mean,
right?
it's certainly possible. We did get
Yeah.
three pretty fast bust outs. And we see here Jeremy just calling with the ace three suited. I think this is the sort of hand you might want to jam in this exact chip situation, but he would have run into it pre, so he might have saved himself here. One of the things that's hard in Hold'em is keeping track of like when these hands flip to jams because like in chip EV you probably just call, but in a final table against someone who's likely opening wide into the blinds, the hand makes for a pretty compelling jam. He did just call that time, and it saved him because he would have run into ace
Whoa,
queen and busted. We got a
you're
mystery hand,
right.
nice.
And a mystery. Uh, Yeah, let's
I
see.
love those
Mystery hand,
mystery
Queen Jack.
hands.
Duco, baby. Duco is off and running. He is doing his thing. I'm rooting for Duco. I hope he just kind of runs the things over, pushes us out, so we don't even have to have it come up. But I do want to be prepared to register it if so. But let's see. Let's see. Let's see if we might not have a sweat. There is also a 1 day 25K GG millions going on. 5 million guaranteed as we see the Jack top pair this time. But that one I don't feel as good about late regging, like super late regging the 25K. I mean, it's possible, but I would have to look at that. I'd rather get a little more play.
That's probably gonna be a tough field too, I'd
Yeah,
imagine.
it's exactly. That's not a cakewalk coming in with like 15, 20
I mean,
blinds
the
and
main event's a similar buy-in, but that's got to have so many more people that I think
it's just yeah for 10 mil and there's a lot of extra little EV in there. We see a check raise with the Queen Jack. What do you think about that with sort of a medium-ish top pair, but out
I
the
think in
blinds?
chip EV it's definitely a check raise. In a final table, you might want to check call a little more, but he does have the big stack playing as the medium stack, so there's a little bit of extra leverage
Yeah.
there. So I think you can go either way on that one. Not a good turn for him after check raising. Middle pair is kind of the one thing that you're not going to have after you check raise. Like you're more likely to have bottom pair than middle pair. So he doesn't like to see the eight on the turn here, and he does check. And now Greedy is certainly capable of turning various hands into bluffs here. We'll see what he winds up doing. Duco's surely calling this one, and then we'll see what happens on the river. Well, the backdoor flush comes in. May or may not be relevant. Greedy's got a million behind, and there's a million in the pot. If he does want to bluff here, he's probably going to have to put in a lot of it. Maybe all of it. Then Duco's going to be faced with potentially having to make another hero call. Overall, I think this run out is much more favorable to the in position player than the check raiser. There's the all in. So Duco is going to have to figure this out. Right away, he's put into another tough spot of potentially having to hero on the river.
I'm going fold. What do you think?
I don't know, man. I mean, this guy Greedy could easily have extra bluffs here, but yeah, it's
Let's
certainly
go
really hard.
one fold, two call, three phone a friend. You don't know. You can't make your mind up. It's very close. So Greedy, if Greedy shows me a bluff here, I'll be super impressed that like because there's a little leveling too. By this point, the ace king's popped up. Duco sees he's passing ace king, like whatever. So like he gets credit.
Oh, he
Wow,
had
he
the eight.
has it. He
Okay, he
does
had
it. I
the
would
eight.
have
Good
folded.
pull. Good pull.
Nice
Yeah, I
fold.
think
Duco
ultimately
just
you probably do have to fold. Maybe Queen Jack with a heart you can call. It comes down to like little things like that, I think, because you have to find some bluff catchers, and your range is just kind of face up at that point. You have like a decent top pair a lot of the time, and your opponent just has a bunch of trips and some backdoor flushes and then some bluffs. So you have to sort between all those top pairs you have and figure out which ones you want to bluff catch with. I think he made the right play folding the river there.
Man, I'm just saying to myself, I'm going to try to play less, do less live traveling stops. I just saw the announcement is out on the WSOP Instagram that there is a $1 million POI prize pool for next year with 3 stops. They just confirmed 2026 WSOP in Europe, March 31st to April 8th. There's Vegas is May 26th to July 15th. That's always standard, pretty much those dates. And then the Paradise next year is December 1 through 18. So man, I may that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool to have a POI $1 million added prize pool. So that is
Yeah,
what people
that's
have been
good. That's a
asking
good
for. And
incentive to get people to play all three of those.
yeah, it's
Yeah, I've been
pretty cool.
traveling less for live these days. I have 3 kids, so it's harder to get out of the house. But there's so much action online these days too. You know, you can really just kind of pick what you want to play and
For
get plenty of
sure.
action.
Yeah, exactly. It's sort of that nice hand there. Duco makes his hand. Queen three gets away, was drawing to a chop as Duco is running amok right now, and he is avoiding some nasty spots too, getting out of the way as Jeremiah here with
Yeah, he
ace
did great. I
queen.
mean, he made the correct hero call with second pair, and then he correctly got away from top pair. I mean, he's done back to back excellent river decisions. He's playing great.
Yeah, pretty much a dialed in performance to say the least, playing super well.
Well, that's what we expected from him. I mean, he's made a lot of appearances at this tournament final table, and he's always put on a real good show for us. And here he's cementing his chip lead. Came in third with the chip leader on his left. We haven't seen Gus do a whole lot. I mean, he hasn't had a whole lot of hands either, so it's not like he's really been playing cautiously or anything. He just hasn't had much happening for him yet. He's still in second or tied for second, so he's still in a fine position. But Duco is really pulling away with this thing so far. Greedy betting kind of big on the flop there, taking it down. And he's in second. And so Kaspar's big blind flats ultimately wound up sinking him. I mean, if he got that bluff through, he would have made him all back and then some. But he made 3 really weak calls out of the big blind, check folded 2 of them, and then check raise, bluffed off the tournament on the third one. Got a few hands here. We got King Jack on the cutoff. Greedy with deuces on the button at 40 effective. He's just going to fold that one. Now Boris with sevens is likely jamming here, I would imagine. He's only got one similarly sized stack to try to outlast. He's up against a reasonably wide cutoff range. Yeah, he is going to jam, and Sven is going to fold. So Boris taking that one down. Getting back to a little over 20 big blinds.
Yep, pretty interesting hand. Duco just getting a walk. He actually has the good, so probably a little bit of I want to say fear. People playing their ranges, their hands, but he also has got that kind of dominance, right? Just sort of one of the things that happens
Yeah,
in poker when you make good decisions, when people respect your game, you just kind of get more uncontested pots. People are a little less willing to battle or open
definitely
light.
snowballs. The final tables
Yes,
in particular, because people don't want to risk chips in thin spots. They don't want to bust. So if you're sort of establishing that you're willing to put on pressure in the right spots, you get a lot of extra equity with people just folding to your opens, people walking you, things like this. We got some big hands here, blind versus blind. Gus has not had much going so far, and he is about to run
wow,
into it here.
wow, this is
This is
cold
rough.
deck, and I'll
Yeah, I
tell you
mean, we're
what.
probably just going to see 3-bet, 4-bet call, I think.
Oof. This is one of the ones where it's so dirty too. There's a 570 stack, 875. You got 1.8, 1.4. You're healthy, but yet so many chips going in, and it's effectively a cooler with these positions and six-handed.
I mean, it's possible he just decides to call here, but this hand makes for a very compelling 4-bet blind versus blind, I think, with the stacks being how they are. Maybe he just calls. I mean, he might want his 4-bet range to be a little more polarized, but ace queen offsuit blind versus blind is just a fantastic hand.
Is there a world where he clicks it and gets away then? Nope, he's just all of it. That would be too much. I think
Yeah,
your
I
hand
can't
is
blame
too,
him, but it's
yeah.
also it's rough.
It is 2.8 in the middle. Ace king, ace queen. Will it hold the ace jack nine? So both players hitting the ace. There it is, the
Oh,
queen. It's
queen on the
nasty,
turn.
but Can he fade the 10 or the king? Yes, in a
Brutal.
sick run out. Sven, man, good sportsmanship again. Got to say, everyone rocking those Greg goes all in. Shout out to him and amazing content and giving a big kudos there. Everyone showing again good sportsmanship. Takes a cold beat. Sven also did ladder up a bit. He was an eighth out of nine. The two blind stack went out, eight left. He did get a couple spots ahead, but honestly, crazy. That was for the chip lead, right? He would have been effectively or close to chip leader, so that was a big swing for him. Just would have
That
been in
was
second.
rough. That was rough.
Yeah.
But nothing you can really do there. I mean, it's not like his opponent misplayed the hand or anything. Plus, he just won it 2 weeks ago, so you can't be too mad about that. But that is a rough one. That's the thing, even on the flop, he's ahead, almost 90%, and then just boom, 2 on the turn, fade to redraw, and it's just brutal, man. 3 hours, excuse me, not 200. So now Jeremy is our short stack. Boris is slightly ahead of him, and everyone else just has heaps. So we might see a prolonged three-handed match here. But we are on pace for you to make your tournament. We'll see how it ends up here. I mean, we could be three-handed for a long time with the stacks being how they are, but the hands do go faster the fewer players we have. Duco calling here. I like this call a lot more than some of the lighter big blind calls we've seen. These stacks are both very deep, and I think at these deeper stacks, and both players have similar risk premiums, you can afford to call more hands like this, the connectors. Duco has a gut shot in bottom pair. He does not have a heart. It's good enough to call one. We'll have trouble continuing against more, but I don't know if Gus is going to want to keep bluffing with this hand.
Yeah, this is 7 8 6s. Sixes has the best hand. Very hard to be good here. Is not good. I'm sorry, did have the best hand, now does not, but the board's very scary. Both players not gonna like this board very much. So is there a chance that Duco just gets to no, he's gonna turn this into a bluff? Sick.
Worked out. Good bluff. Going for the big sizing there, not something you often see on the texture, but these stacks are very deep and there's final table considerations as well. So that sizing is going to get a fold quite often on the turn, and he made it work for him that time.
All right, King 10, 8 5, both whiffing. Boris, Angela, been fairly quiet, gonna come out betting an 8 5 suited. Decent hand closing the action there, but he is gonna completely whiff. Does he ever want to get spicy here? He doesn't have like great
I think if he
properties
had
to do it,
one
but he's
spade on the
good.
board, I wouldn't mind a check raise. I don't know if he's going to go for it here. He might anyway. I mean, he still has the back to a straight draw, but if this is pretty weak, he does. And it's probably going to work. Yeah, leveraging the stacks there. Boris not wanting to go out before Jeremy, unable to defend his hand there. So a nice check raise from Gus. A little bit. You'd like to at least see the backdoor flush draw to go with it. But at final tables, you can play the stacks a little bit more than the combos sometimes.
All right, we continue on five-handed again, playing to a winner, no deal making. This is pure poker. Seeing it to the end, going to be about a 50K heads up match. Ladders, lower left, payouts, upper left in hands. Blinds are up 25-50, 20 more hands, five-handed. Four-handed, we're going to queue up the giveaway. You guys might as well get it done. Get subscribed, hit that thumbs up. 550 plus watching. Of course, WSOP coverage going on of this $72 million prize pool, 10 million to first. Crazy. So you guys can split the screen. Check it out. Check both. Go over. Make sure you're watching after that ends. And we are going to play to a winner. And I got to get, if you can, Bryan, if you can drop me your link. I'm having trouble. If you can send it to me again on
Yeah,
WhatsApp,
I'll get
maybe
it from
just
Mike.
because I'll put that up for guys mid stakes mastery. Well, have you thought more about it? Is that your final answer for mid stakes? What you believe? Give me the live and online today, 2025, going into 26. What is mid stakes today?
Well, online is probably like, I guess like 33 to 150, and then live it's probably like 1K to 3K would be what I'd say.
Okay, and so you're saying basically 215s, a 200, whatever plus 500s. You're talking that's high. That's basically in the high
I mean,
stakes.
I don't know. I guess they kind of have like high stakes and then like super high stakes now, obviously,
Right.
because this is like, so maybe you have to split them into 4 categories now.
Another tier, another option. Yeah.
Because like when I hit that 10 million mark 10 years ago, they didn't have this like nosebleed scene nearly as much. You know, a couple times a year they'd have like 2Ks in the scoops or whatever, but most of the time they would. And nowadays they have a 10K tournament every week, and it's just a totally different level of money you can play for online these days.
Yeah, it's so true.
We got some big stack on big stack action here. Duco is going to limp call and he flops bottom two. A great hand for him, but I don't know if he even wants to check raise here because the potential to make this pot enormous and be out of position on later streets can get kind of ugly. We might just see a check call. Gus still has a gut shot and overs to the 9. And that turn is rough for Duco. He still has the best hand, of course, but he basically
Yep.
just killed the good properties of his hand there on that turn.
I did just put that link for the pokertraining.com. That's for the Mid Stakes Masters. That is a link. You guys can go ahead and check that out.
Yeah, there's a link to like a free seminar intro in there too. So if you guys want to see what the course is all about, you can kind of watch that and see if you'd be interested. But yeah, Mike and I have both been printing money at these stakes for decades now, so we're well versed in what you need to sort of exploit these fields and get the basics for how to think about hands, how to learn all the different formats, that sort of thing. It's a very comprehensive course.
Very cool. Well, we are seeing a now 9-8 as played. He's just deciding 9 is the best hand and he's going to go small. And there's maybe even some like 6-7 or 7, 6-10 or some hand where maybe pairs or he wants to call, get value from other hands as he does pick up the pot. 4 million leading the pack. Five left. Jeremy with the King 8 suited. He is going to come in, have some non-bladed hands. King 8 suited, one of the nice ones, right? To be raising later.
That's a nice min raise off that stack. Yeah, you want your min raising range off that stack to be kind of polarized. You want to either have like a super nutted hand, or you want to have like one of the hands that's like not quite good enough to shove. I think King 8 suited fits very nicely into that latter category.
Yeah, good pickup. Gonna pay for his blinds. He hits right now 25.50. Not big blind Annie. It is just everyone Annie, so 50K big blind and Queen King
Yeah,
suited
it's a
gonna
difference,
open.
big difference between live and online these days, and it doesn't really matter that much. When you get your stack very short, it can matter quite a bit live. Like sometimes you'll have 2.5 big blinds under the gun. It's like, well, you just have to shove, or else your stack's gonna get obliterated the next hand if you don't.
Yep. Okay.
Duco might defend this one. I mean, it's not a super strong hand or anything, but he has a lot of leverage against his opponent's stack, and the hand can flop draws like this. Pretty good flop for his hand. He is going to bet. Now Duco can either call or raise. I think both options have merit. Does just call this time.
Yeah, he's 10, getting called here, realizing does beat hands 8-5, 4-5, 8-9, some other hands, ace highs that he's ahead of. The king run out is a nice card for ace 10 overall,
It
although you still
is.
realize you lose some hands. And Duco now with the worst possible hand. These are kind of weird one though, right? Where it's an unusual run out where it's like, yeah, you don't really get wow, and he just
Whoa,
snap
he
folds ace
snap
10.
folded.
Wow.
That's surprising because
Yeah, I would
Duco
think
chose a
not
size that
crazy to
was
fold, but should think about that run out and that board. Like,
yeah, because Duco chose a size that was basically designed to fold out like slightly better misdraws. I don't think he's even trying to fold out ace high, and he got the snap fold, which I find surprising. I definitely think
ooh,
Duco has to bluff some amount. I think he chose a good size. He's basically just trying to target hands with like better straight draws that missed and things like this. But getting a fold from ace high is a fantastic result for that sizing.
okay. Ace 10 gets to the river. with the best hands. Ace, seven, deuce. The diamonds coming. He has a 10 of diamonds. Let's see what happens, or maybe there's some version of like a blocker bet here, or like some bet of
Yeah, I wouldn't be
90.
surprised to see a block sizing. I definitely don't
Yeah.
expect him to bet big. He can either check or he can bet like a third. He's gonna go for the check.
Ace 10, pretty high up in the range here as versus the
I think
big
once you get
blind.
a check, you're good. You have the green light to go for value. He also blocks a diamond,
Yep.
which makes it less likely that he's up against a flush. I would imagine we see him bet for value.
Ooh, 350,
Pretty
medium.
large sizing. I guess he's sort of like fake polarizing his range and trying to get thin value here. I would have expected a little bit smaller, but this might work for him.
One of the downsides to play the ace four, right? Exactly this. You both flop and then you're out of position and you're
Yeah, it's
different.
tough. These hands are hard to play because you're kind of like obligated to play them because you're always getting the right price pre, but they're very frequently you get in spots like this where it's like you have top pair, you don't know if it's good. And he does get away from it correctly there, so he played it well. But
Nice hand. Nice decisions. Really seeing great execution, I'd say today. There's been some really well played hands. We saw a great bluff and a great call. We've seen some really nice folds. We've seen very high level stuff, I'd say, across the board.
yeah,
That's kind of
it's
what
been a
has
good
impressed
final
me.
table so far.
Yeah.
Both players flopping a pair here. Duco has the best of it. Might throw in a check with this one, especially from these positions. I would not mind seeing a check here. He does not check. He bets and wins. Greedy just folding. Duco keeping up the pressure here. He does have the big stack, so he can get a little bit out of line. This hand is not anything crazy, but it is a little bit wider than you'd expect to see on a cutoff open. Boris will shove and take it down. Both these short stacks are kind of vying for fourth place at the moment. Obviously, they have more upside if they can lock that up first, but their primary objective right now is just to outlast each other. They got a big hill to climb before they can contend with the top stacks here. Gus, a nice three betting hand. I would have liked to see a bigger sizing from him. I think when you're like big stack on big stack, this sizing is fine for the shorter stacks, and it does get the job done. But in the big stack on big stack situations, I think you want to size a little bigger there.
I'm fired up. I'm fired up. I'm honestly, I've never, sometimes like having bad, not a great series or bricking, I really didn't play many events. I played the 10K pill, I played the main several times, but I just feel motivated, excited about poker. I feel like I'm playing well. I think actually I took spots I normally wouldn't take that were close that I'm happy I took, although it didn't work out and turned into basically some flips that didn't win with. But it's I feel very excited about the game right now. So I'm hoping to play. I wish I got to play on GG online, honestly, living in
I
Miami.
know, me
It's
too. I miss GG. It's
I
got so
do.
many big and like especially seeing these people qualify for
Yeah.
the Paradise. Like I didn't really get a chance to do that. I mean, I guess you can do it through ACR, but it's harder. GG, they give those
Yeah.
things away everywhere. It's
I'm just waiting. I know Michael Kim, he's one of those guys you can't bet against. He's in that echelon, Rob Young and some of the guys, in poker, Ishai Scheinberg and these kind of guys that are just pushing the envelope, going. You just kind of believe. Like I would never have bet that there is not online poker in the US, from 15 years going on basically coming up on Black Friday. That's crazy. Like I
It
that
is. I mean,
shocks me.
there's some sites that are operating in the sort of gray area with the
Yep.
sweepstakes or whatever, but nothing on the level of GG. And
Yep.
with them legalizing so many other forms, I mean, sports betting has become ridiculously
Yeah,
widespread. So you
daily
expect poker to
fantasy.
be.
That's what I'm saying. But that's why I think, you do the right things. GG, WSOP are doing the right things. They're starting to get in Michigan, Pennsylvania, Delaware. At some point, I am hopeful. And I think what they'll do is they'll end up, because they're doing the right things, they're going about the right way. I do feel there is going to be that moment where it's just like, okay, boom, they're in, stuff's right, software's good, everything's clean, it's all good. And then these other sites maybe get shut out or have pressure put on them to
Oh
not be
yeah,
able to do that, right? I
if
think
that
that's
happens,
kind
it's
of
going to
the
be a big moment for.
long-term play. And I mean,
I mean,
listen, Club
the
GG,
gambling market in general is bigger than ever. I mean, and poly
yeah.
market just got added to the U.S. I mean, it's other forms of gambling are at all time highs. So, and poker is really a much better, healthier form. I think it's more skill testing. It's very thought provoking. If they're going to allow stuff like sports betting to be advertised on ESPN, I don't see why poker shouldn't be legalized too.
Yep. Yeah, it's true. Queen Jack, Ace 5. Not too much going on here, Boris. Not a ton of room to get creative. He does have that club. Oh, he gets in there. A little float.
He does call the flop. He's got the backdoor flush draw, and if he is going to call the flop, I don't mind a turn lead here. It's a very good card for his range. He's got a lot more sevens than the opponent. He's got more flush draws than the opponent. We do see the lead. And now we'll see if he follows through. Gus is not folding for this bet, but he may have to fold to a river shove if we get to that point. We shall see.
Boris really getting creative, man. I love he sticks in the 7 of clubs in particular. He knows he can have sevens here. He gets to now bluff clubs. And honestly, the Ace 5 in particular, it's just tough. Like you're really smoked here or you're still good. And then if your opponent's willing and able to fire
We
through.
folded. Wow. I mean, I thought he was for sure at least going to call the turn. It's only quarter pot, and he's always in a tough spot on the river there. But you're going to have a lot of hands that don't even have an ace there. They just have to snap fold. So I think when you do fold with an ace, you're just letting your opponent get away with it too easily. I think you got to force him to at least put that river bluff into.
Yeah, crazy hand.
Agree with King Jack O is going to 3-bet.
Wow.
And Gus does have the best hand slightly, but he's out of position. He's going to have to either go post flop or 4-bet or fold. None of those options seem particularly appealing, so we'll see which one he chooses here.
I think he's gonna fold.
That seems like the most likely outcome, yeah.
He does cover by million. There is 2 shorter, 1 very short stack. So I mean, does he ever just rip it? I mean, calls. Wow, King Jack. He's got the best hand. This is one of the problems with this particular play. Is
Yeah,
it's
like
not
you have the best hand, but how are you actually going to continue? You might be able to call one, but then if he bets again on the turn, you're.
I'm actually calling was the least likely. I thought. I did not
That's
think
what
he
I
would
thought
do
too.
it
Yeah,
here.
I mean, 4-bet ripping for 40 seems dicey as well. It's just so much downside. But 4-betting not all in isn't really a thing with sixes. Like you can 4-bet not all in with like an ace in your hand or something, but not really with sixes. And Greedy takes it down on the flop.
Interesting. Definitely a very interesting hand that had all options available.
I'm gonna be right back. The kids just got home. I told them not to come in here.
Okay. We'll keep it rolling here. We are seeing the 7-10 Jack 8 blind on blind. Duco ducks into another win, and Jeremiah says time for a one time. Needs a little bit of time. If ever was a time, it's close to get hot.
All right, sorry about that. Just want to make sure I didn't bust in and start yelling when I was on the stream.
Whereas
all right, so we got a limp check and nobody has anything here.
Seen 5-handed play. We will get the giveaways going at 4-handed. And we still have almost 600 on after we have, again, a huge stream going on WSOP.
Good call from Duco on the river here. Queen high. Gus trying to bluff with no showdown, which makes sense. I think both of those plays make a lot of sense. But nice to see Duco execute on the call there. Those are some of my favorite spots that gets checked down to the river because both players have so many potential bluffs and bluff catchers. Is finding the right line of like where you have to call, where you have to value bet, that sort of thing. I think those spots are uniquely interesting. Duco trying to continue applying the pressure as the big stack, but he is up against quite a big hand here.
Tuco said, hey, I see you fold correctly earlier, ace king off. What about here? What would you do if I put pressure? Although it's queen 7 off, this is not a particularly great.
Oh
wow.
man, he's going for it. I don't like this. I thought it was.
It's actually hilarious that it's literally the exact same hand. Although this is a much different situation. It's button
There's no way he's
five
folding
of
this time. Yeah, button versus big blind. There's just no way. I mean, the other one was under the gun versus big blind with 9 players left. At
nine
this
handed, a
point,
two blind stack. Yeah,
he's got to go with it.
he's
I
gonna
think
pick up
Duco
those
getting a
two.
little bit too frisky here.
Yeah, does show you though. Duco's willing to do exploitative stuff. He's willing to just, it's not just about, oh, I have a good, he's taking the queen 7-0, the computer hand, meaning the dead middling hand if it's heads up play, and he
The
is
computer
putting
hand,
that
the
in.
classic.
Yes, putting it in his arsenal for aggression against the player he believes will make some maybe tighter folds. But GGPoker all of a sudden is basically tied for chip lead. We do have a three-handed healthy stack. We got two shorter stacks, and Jeremiah says, I need to run hot. I'm looking to run hot. And he needs some help as ace-8 can open. Jack 10 suited, pretty hand, but see what he wants to do. And I mean, there is a world where, again, the laddering is one thing, but Jack 10 suited, decent
This
shove
is
hand
this is a
against.
nice hand. He could certainly jam, but I think he's so far ahead of Jeremy that he wants to
Yep.
um
Let
play it
that.
safe there. The other thing is like the cutoff is not opening nearly as wide as the button would be. I think against the button open, you'd be much more inclined to jam. But the cutoff has to contend with a bigger stack behind him on the button, so he's not going to be opening anywhere near as wide as the button will be if it folds to him.
Yeah, Brazil looking to stamp another great result on the GG Millions. Austria today had a couple flags tango and they're already out. Ace Deuce just coming in, man,
I like
putting
I like
pressure.
this 3-bet because these hands don't flat particularly well, but having an ace in your hand to put pressure on some of these, I like that 3-bet a lot more than I like the queen 7 4-bet. Of course, if his opponent had been bluffing there and he correctly 4-bet with queen 7, we'd be praising him. So there's some results orientedness going into this, but I think that that ace 2 3-bet right there is solidly grounded in theory, and the queen 7 was just a little bit out of line. Both players here flopping straight draws, but Gus has a slightly better hand, but Duco has the better draw, at least against other hands. Against each other, Gus is ahead on both counts.
And Queen 10 suited. He puts a big size on
He
and
has to at least
does
call one. He
call.
picks up hearts, and that's
Whoa.
going to make it hard for Duco to keep putting pressure on here.
This is actually pretty sick because Duco on the 8-9-4 turn heart where he has the best draw two overs blind on blind. I mean, I would anticipate him putting pressure on. And honestly, the queen 10 suited hits one of the best cards. It doesn't actually improve to the jack or the queen or the 10. He does hit. And this is a big ask, though, man. What a pot we're seeing
Yeah,
here.
it is a big ask. I mean, you're in position, you have a fantastic draw, but there's also these two really short stacks that you're putting your. I mean, if he just outlasts those two other stacks, he's making another 50K. Um, man, this is tough.
Wow. One to come, though. I mean, man, call and come ace, king, come a deuce, pair the board. Curious how this plays out. Do you think he calls here? I mean, this is close. This is
It's
like
tough,
not
man. I mean,
so
he's in
appetizing.
position. If he does call, Duco might just empty the clip and close this thing out.
What a hand. I'm going to take a restroom break, but I am waiting for this hand because this is exciting. I actually, wow, he's got 2.1. The implied odds if he wins this pot, though, he is going to have a lot of chips. He would have like, yeah, potentially even more 3.8 plus if there's a more betting. And
You
he's,
certainly wouldn't fold in Chippy, but at a final table, things get a little different, especially with these. This is a spot where I wish we had the wizard with the ICM sims working because I'm not sure what it would want to do. The other thing he could do is just jam over. Oh, there it is,
oh,
right as I say
wow.
it. Right as I say it.
Wow. Bravo. Bravo. I'm going to use the
Beautiful.
restroom. Brian will handle this and I'll be back
I
shortly. What
got
a
you. Don't
hand.
worry.
Great, great play from our start of the chip leader.
Yeah,
Great
Duco's
play.
taking a couple hits here, but that was a sick jam. Right as I said it too. I got it out just in time. But yeah, when you jam there, your opponent is going to have a hard time calling you, and that way you're putting the pressure on him to make the call. Even if he has something like a 9, you still have a whole bunch of outs if you run into it, and it's not trivially easy to call with a lot of 9s there either. So, all right, here we got middle pair against bottom pair. Duco's got the backdoor flush draw, backdoor straight draw. He's got a nice holding here with the queens. Brigi has some stuff going on with his hand as well, though. And Duco now is in third, so he's actually going to be put under the pressure from the other medium stacks at this point. Gus is taking the chip lead. With a very good shot on the turn there. Greedy check calls a flop. And we might see a check on the turn. We might see another bet. He does check. And now Duco's got a pretty nice bluff catcher. He blocks queen 10. He beats everything with a king. Greedy has a might be tempted to bluff. I don't know how much his showdown like 7 has here once it goes check on the turn. No, he's just gonna check. And Duco might go for value here. He's not gonna get paid if he does though. If Greedy had 7-8 instead of 7-6, he could actually consider like check raise bluffing the river, but that would be pretty heroic, I think. And I expect we'll just see a fold. Now that we are here. Oh, there's the check raise. Oh man. Duco actually has a pretty good bluff catcher against this though, because he blocks queen 10, and that's like one of the hands your opponent's actually going to play this way. Like 2 pairs should just bet for value. So when you get check raised, it's kind of like queen 10 or a bluff a lot of the time here, I think. So we'll see if Duco finds a call here. He's been check raised on the river after, so the flop went check bet call, turn went check, and then the river went check bet raise. Duco does find the call. I like the call from Duco there.
Wow, blocks queen 10, blocks some.
And what I was saying there is like when you get check raised on the river there, your opponent's kind of saying I have queen 10 or I have a bluff, and when you have 2 queens in your hand, I think it makes for a very compelling bluff catcher on the river there. So nicely played by Duco. Gets his chips back, and he is solidly tied for the chip lead once again.
All right, ace queen, king jack. King jack in a world of pain here. Not much to do, but also knowing that there is a
He
world of
he kind of has to
good.
call one. I mean, he's got king high. He's
Yep.
probably not going to be one to put any more in though.
Yeah, ace queen gonna come again and bet.
That should do it.
It should. In a way, it's almost like, yeah, king jack mandatory call flop, and then yeah, I think that just
You're
two.
kind of just hoping your opponent shuts down there. Maybe you pick up the gut shot or something, but you can't make it too easy for him to just bet small on the flop and fold out like everything that you have. So you do kind of have to call the flop, and it's really a tough spot. It's not something you're ever very comfortable with.
I like the shove, king 3, kind of being aware, alert to both players not looking to call off light there, and doesn't affect your stack too much if you lose 500.
Yeah, it's only about a 5 big one shove, so I think any king should be good there. So yeah, that's a good shove.
Yep.
Jeremy is looking for a spot, and he might take this one. He does not. Good pass. He would have run into a much better hand, but blind versus blind, it's you can't be too choosy. Jeremy is shoving this one. I actually think it's better to shove 10-7 blind versus blind than it is to shove 7-8 suited on the button into 2 players. Neither hand's particularly good, but when you're this short, a hand like 7-8 suited, like you'd rather jam that for like 15 bigs where you actually have some fold equity. When you're jamming into stacks that are obligated to call you with like Jack 7 offsuit, it becomes worse. Speaking of Jack 7 offsuit, we got it here. And he is going to go for the raise, blind versus blind. Greedy makes the call. Pretty standard so far. The bigger stack raising with a kind of a weak hand, but a hand that can get some folds and just take it down pre-flop. Check, and Gus makes his pair. He's got second pair, but Greedy still has overs and a gut shot.
Expected bet here. I guess it's actually, so it's blind on blind though. I'm sorry. No, it's not on the gun. I was thinking of his check and he was on the gun. So this makes sense. You got a fair amount of ham. You don't want to get blown off. You check. So he
Yeah, he's
showdown's
gonna
gonna
check
just check
call, which I
call.
think makes
Yeah.
a lot of sense. Like you, if it's you probably have the best hand, but betting and making the pot bigger is kind of tough when there's this many draws out there. So he's just kind of playing pot control. Good river for Gus. We might see him check call again. I think Greedy's just gonna check now, though he has ace high still.
Yeah. Expected check here. He does beat a fair amount of hands. Still, he has a decent showdown against some 4x, 5x, 8x, spade, other hands. So he does check. He gets to get to river relatively showdown wise, cheap, and he does get outdrawn on the turn there, though. So nice hand for Gus Campos. Started chip leader, is chip leader, 5-handed, 4 million, Duco 3.7.
And if Gus gets third or better, he's gonna double his career cashes on GG, which is pretty impressive. And it looks like he's very well set up to get third or better because two of these stacks are getting ground into dust here. Jeremy might wind up taking this one, or he might just pass and try to keep outlasting. We'll see.
And Duco getting pressured here. Gonna call. And what a flop here. King Jack, top pair, king kicker versus open-ended 2 overs. And let's see. Do these guys are trying necessarily not to play huge pots, but they both have a lot of hand here. And we do see a check back with the King Jack.
Yeah, I kind of like the check back when they're big stack on big stack. You know, you likely have the best hand, but you definitely don't want to get check raised on this flop. That would be a disaster for you. Duco busting out the big bets right away, and he's gonna put Gus in the tough spot anyway. Even though he tried to pot control the flop, he's saying no, we're not pot controlling. We are playing for big amounts here. And now if Duco follows through for all of it, he might get it through, but that's a very risky proposition when there's these two shorter stacks. So he might just give this up.
I'll tell
He
you
might
what.
follow through.
I'll tell you what. This is, but the way Gus Campos checks the flop, though, I don't know if he can fold. And honestly, though, the all in would be wild. That Duco's capable.
Yeah, he's not doing it. But yeah, I
That
agree. When he
doesn't
checks
make.
back the flop, it'd be real hard for him to fold this hand on the river. And I think he's just going to check the river now. I think the spot's big enough.
Yeah, he's got double second if he just wins this pot. The outside shot, you're against ace jack or some hand that is better than you. I don't know. Do you get called? Maybe you do get called by ace 10. And does he have ace 10 for that size on the turn, though? Probably not. So he is
He's
going to
going
bet.
for value. And unless Duco wants to go for a check raise here, it's not really going to matter. He's just going to lose the pot either way. I can't see him doing that the way this hand played out, but man, he's got some moves in him. We might be surprised.
Yeah, I hope you're enjoying at home. Let us know. We do have a giveaway of 3 GG tickets coming up to $50 a piece. Must be subscribed, must hit the thumbs up. Hope you're having a great day. We are calling this to a winner, and we do see boxing emojis. He's sending it and capitalizing on some of that software. So he is dizzy from that hand as Goose Campos started the day. Chip leader is massive chip leader right now, and he's going to work.
The World Series of poker, I would be playing the tournaments, and they'd have time cash games, and every time they did time, they'd do the ding ding ding, and it sounded just like that thing, and I'd always think of that every time they did it.
Absolutely. What an FT today. Let us know. Let me see. I got the chat up now. Again, mobile setup. Let me know where in the world you're watching from. I am in the Atlantis at Paradise Island, itching to play. I got to say, I'm in the mood. Didn't want to quit you guys today. There is some bracelet events going, but we are gonna play to a winner today, and we will have a big finish for you in store as
You
we
got
see
like
the
an
two
hour left still?
shorties. Ooh, was that?
How much time you got before you have to reg? An hour?
1 hour basically. My plan is to, I don't mind even if I blind out a bit, if I register at the end, like very end and run over there. I think you get to wait a second, but I don't know. Or we'll
We'll see.
figure
I
it out.
mean, this is going fast, and two of these, once you get
It
three-handed,
is.
the hands are going to go
It
much
could
faster.
easily
The
be
blinds are going to go much
three-handed
faster.
quickly. It really depends if Gus Campos can gobble one of the, how that double, how it goes between the three-handed play right now, the 3 big stacks. But right now, Boris actually kind of a weird one, does have equity, and he is gonna likely have a hard time getting away at this 200
Yeah, I
half.
think he's only got half pot behind. He's got second pair with a good backdoor. We're likely going to see him put the rest in here. Depends on what the turn is, though. He might get a free turn. I don't think Gus should reopen the action here. And yeah, Boris might think twice about this now. I mean, he does have a gut shot, but an ace is like a very, very common card for his opponents to have. Duco checking twice.
Wow. Yeah, Boris gonna get to preserve stack probably here. I don't see what's Duco's. I guess just gonna bet now. Something. Maybe bets like small, but does go for enough to put them all in.
Going for the big bet, yeah. And Boris probably folding now. I don't think he's beating much in a three-way pot. I think he's, it's hard for Duco to have like a pure bluff here.
Yeah, it just kind of feels weird that three-way pot. You're just gonna like call off with Jack as this action on the river to be out. It doesn't really feel like the move, but I mean, wouldn't be the
If he calls
craziest,
and he's correct, he quadruples up, and I don't think it's going to be correct 25% of the time.
right? He's in the tank. 10 minutes of that chess clock available. A couple other
He's
players
thinking
got
about
in
it. I
3.5
mean, it's a
minutes.
big spot, so you got to at least think about it. But I don't think it's
Yeah.
ultimately going to wind up being a call for him. He does make the fold. So I think we'll see Greedy shove and then Jeremy call, but Jeremy is like really far ahead of the next shortest stack, so he has a huge risk premium here. He's gonna make the call anyway. King Queen is too good.
He's ahead. Million in the middle. Jack 10. Very action flop. Backdoor heart's no good. Needs an 8, a king, or we'll go continue on 5-handed. It is an ace of hearts. So king, queen, good. Double up. That is a million chips. That's a lot for that situation. That is selfishly, I'm looking for knockouts, but to
Yeah,
get
I
a
know,
hand.
right?
But that is going to still
And you're
continue
likely to
on.
get at least one because Boris is down to 2.5 big blinds, but we're gonna be four-handed for a little bit after that, I think. Jeremy doubling there gives him a lot more play.
Yep. Okay, two queens. And Boris gonna with the ace seven, he's got two blinds. Does he want to run it here? I mean,
I
probably
think
can't.
you can rather pass, yeah, even though you expect to at least, you're not going to be ahead, but you at least have equity against some of the opens. But yeah, I think you'd rather just wait and hope that maybe somebody busts this hand instead of going over an open there.
Yep, as it turns out, would have been dominated, would have been likely on his way out. He does pass, still stays alive. See if he can do more with his two blinds, as the blinds do go up to 35-70, but two blinds to start was our short stack. Bruno Volkman. We will keep it rolling. 5-handed at 4. We'll start the giveaway. Got to do it from my phone since I don't have it. Actually, that's not true. I think I can pull it up here. Get it up on my computer. Get the giveaways rolling at 4. And he is basically all in now with 9-7 suited. A6 gonna get out of the way.
Yeah, blinds are up too, so he's got no choice this time. He's going to be live, but one of his nines is dead, unfortunately for him. That's not it.
Yep,
He hit an 8.
9-7 to ace jack. Needs a little help. 8 or else that is it, as ace jack improves the trips. 4-handed play, giveaway time. And the final 4 is set with the top players in the game. We got a lot of titles amongst these players. Chance for a new winner. Duke O'Haven would be a 5-time winner. I'm just gonna double check the stats. Let's see who I think. Well, so obviously Duco would be a repeat winner. Goose Campos would be a first-time winner. Boris Angelov, interesting enough, says has not won. that right? I don't know if his stats are right. Boris Angelov says Never's final table. It doesn't sound right. You have to check that. Chris Rudolph had a win. He's out. Jeremy does not have a win. And GGPoker with no win before. So yeah, we will, I believe, see a new winner unless Duco wins at this
Interesting
point.
limp here from Jeremy. Do you expect him to see him open jam with sixes here, but maybe he thought he'd get raised and then he could jam over a raise? Looking like he's going to win now. I don't think Duco's going to turn his five into a bluff, but he might. I think Duco's the only one who's won at this point. But Gus Campos has a large chip lead now.
Yeah. Four-handed. 6-10 off. Duco is going to come in trying to get in the limp. Jack deuce off, one of those ones that qualify to kick it up often, especially covering, but doesn't. Maybe a little respect for Duco. Maybe, again, not mandatory, needing to raise weak hands, but what do you think there? What would be your decision process on to raise Duco with that hand in this spot?
It's close. You kind of have to just mix a little bit. Like you want to raise him at some frequency, but you don't want to do it all the time or you become a little too predictable. But
Mm-hmm.
this is a good hand to do it with. Like you have a high card blocker and you also have a deuce in your hand. And
Mm-hmm.
the deuce does a couple things here. Like it's probably better to raise with a deuce than with like a five or a six because Duco's just going to open fold a lot of his hands with a deuce, but he might limp fold his hands that have a five or a six in them. So Jack two seems like a pretty compelling hand to raise bluff with blind versus blind, but you don't want to do it all the time or you become a little bit too unbalanced. So I think you just do it at some frequency. And we got 10 high versus Jack high here. Both players with busted gut shots, a very similar value. Duco is going to go for the bluff. Kind of an interesting bluff because you're basically only targeting exactly Jack high and then you get called by Jack high. So it's really not doing its job there when you bluff and get called by basically the hand that's one notch better than yours. But it also feels pretty bad to just check and lose with 10 high. So now we got a nice spot here. We got ace two suited in the big blind versus jacks, and we might see Greedy just jam here. I mean, he should expect his opponent to be raising blind versus blind extremely wide. Calling, going post, and then potentially folding on the flop is kind of rough because then you wind up giving away chips relative to Jeremy. But oh wow, this is a hell of a flop, man. This is an action flop.
This is
Greedy is gonna
definitely
get
an
the double
action
here,
flop.
barring some sort of crazy outcome. I guess the
Yeah.
worst thing for Greedy would be if he just called in the terms like a king or a queen or an ace, but that's not what's happening. He is going to call. The turn is safe for Gus, or so he thinks. He's going to keep putting money in here, and he is going to run right into trips.
Yeah, it's pretty dirty. Not many deuce X's. He's thinking what to do, burning some of that clock around 3 minutes left. Again, see a little difference in clock management,
He
three
just goes
minutes
for the jam,
versus
runs right into it.
11.
Nothing he can do there, though. No matter how
Yeah,
he plays, he's getting the money in.
nasty work. Needs a jack, jack, only two outs on the river. It's going to be a six, and we're going to see things level up dramatically. So from five-handed to four-handed, things tightened up with stacks as we will continue. Ace. Oh, well, things change
Oh,
quickly.
Jeremy is
Aces,
going to
ace
run right into
queen.
aces here.
What a spot for Duco, man. And Goose Campos gets out of the way, not looking to peel ducks there in this situation. And
This is just going to be
Jeremy going to
jam and
just
call.
absolutely run to a buzzsaw.
And
And
Duco might just call here. Yeah, he does. And then this might actually let Jeremy get away for the rest. This is a very bad flop for his ace queen. No, looks like he's not getting away.
aces with the ace of clubs just calls and 472 in the middle. And is the gig up? Does he save some chips? Does he just say this isn't good? Or is there still at this
Yeah, he's
as
not
played?
beating
There's
anything
still,
now. I mean, he's really king queen is pretty much the only hand. King 10, everything else he's just smashed.
yeah, he blocks aces, isn't going to see that coming, the flat. But at the end of the day, he's not doing fantastic against a couple of hands. I guess there is a world where he thinks there's some folds or he's ahead, but he is going to check now.
And Duco, I don't know. He might just put the rest in. Yeah, he checks. Good check. Figures he's probably not having to worry about the gut shots and things on this board. Correctly so in this case.
Yeah, and Jeremy may this kind of so he checks and then
Yeah, he
Duco
got
now.
away with saving some chips. I mean, it's
Yeah,
I can't blame Duco for flatting because that's just what you do with aces. But if he just put the rest in pre, he would have got all of it.
yeah. I mean, Jeremy's going to want to think about it for a second. There are a few hands he beats, but not many. Like you mentioned, basically the
Yeah,
king
pretty much
queen.
just king queen and king 10.
So four-handed says running cold. Actually, he was running cold. He got kind of a hot run out to not bust.
See if Duco goes for the 3-bet here again. He did it that other time.
Okay, here we are with some suited hands. Button, small blind, big blinds.
He does not jam that, which is a little bit surprising for 6 bigs. I think that's usually going to be a jam there, but looks like he would have. Well, he would have flopped a lot of equity, but he also would have got called by the ace 5.
All right, well, there's the deuce shown. There is the deuce, ace, king, ace, 7. And yeah, this should be a
This should be it for
bad
Jeremy, unless he hits a
spot
7.
for
I mean,
Jeremy.
he's
Needs a
certainly not
7.
folding.
Clubs is covered, needs some hearts, straights, or 7s as we see a 1.1 million chip pot to take us to the podium. Can he do it? That has chop outs. 10, 7 now needs help 86% of the time. Ace King going to send us 2 3-handed. It is GG. The D-Negs clap. D-Negs cashing this super main here. And I believe 10 bullets or 11. Maybe it was 10. Lucky squeezed in the money, then made a little run, and then got
Casually
knocked in.
firing $250,000 into one tournament.
Crazy. Crazy, crazy. It is all very crazy. So it is a crazy time to be alive. Poker is alive. Three-handed play, very even three-handed play at that. I got to get the giveaways going. I am sorry. Let's do that. Let's get that going. Let's get the giveaway number.
Yeah, very even here, 3-handed, and the blinds are going to go up a little bit faster now because the hands go much faster 3-handed. So we might get you to your tournament on time, but if not, I'm happy to finish it. Now we got a couple of playable hands here. If it folds to Duco, he'll defend. Heads up to
All right,
the
we got
flop.
the
That's with a
first
pair. Duco with nothing, not even a backdoor flush draw.
first giveaway. Number 1 of 3. Keyword GGWSOP space B Paris. Space insert your GG Poker username. So that I will have up for number 1. And we are three-handed, and what a final table. Been a great final table, as I would say almost always. That's super interesting. Today has been interesting, some great level play. And look at this, ace 9. Ooh, could 3-bet for sure.
He does. Yeah, it's a good 3-bet, but he's going to run into queens, so
Yep.
it's a good 3-bet in theory, but in this particular spot, it's not going to work for him.
Okay. We're going to get that first giveaway going. We'll get a winner for you. We're going to catch it up so when you get to 2, and then we'll get our third out. And again on X, you just see where how we're doing with that. That is a link I have put out a few times. That is on Jeff Gross Poker. You can go to the pinned tweet. There's a picture of Bryan and I in the final table. Only a little less today. We got the WSOP coverage going on the YouTube channel. We got about, what do we have here? Yeah, we're 600. Pretty strong considering that 10 million first prize with about 100 left. Kata is still in. Cabral up there on the chip counts. Chad Eves Lodge. Eves Lodge is the chip leader, 33
Oh
million.
yeah, that
Daniel
guy's a legend,
Negreanu.
man. That guy's I used to play that guy on full tilt back in the day. He's a
Yes.
crusher.
Yeah, Martin Cabral, 27 million. Charles Hook, 25 million. Rodrigo Celoan, regular on the GG Millions, just was with him in Brazil. He has got 22 million. I see a lot of players from the GG Millions regulars up there. Natasha Mercier,
Yeah,
top.
they're all playing that instead of this week. That's why we got a little bit of a lot of newcomers at this final table. This was an odd week for this tournament.
Yes. Yes, it is first giveaway underway. Good luck to everyone. Hope you get to spin it up, whoever wins, and keep trying. We'll have it again. Um, yeah, we're gonna get that little queued up.
So
All right,
Gus
that's it.
bluffing with the best
Three-handed.
hand, but made sense on that board. And he did
Yeah,
forestall his opponent from bluffing him, so it might have worked out.
yeah, question in the chat. Must, again, reminder to hit the thumbs up, be subscribed. If you want to be eligible, you got to type in GGWSOP space B Paris. That is Bryan Paris, our guest today. And then enter your GGPoker username. If you do not have a jurisdiction, you can do that. You can gift it to someone, use their GG username, split it with them, gift it to them. It is the holiday season. After all, you guys can do that as whatever you want to do with that. But that is how you enter. That is how you're eligible. And if you want to retweet, guess who wins on Jeff Gross Poker, you can do that. Those are our 4 giveaways, 3 $50 tickets, 50 cash. Best of luck, Boa Sorte, the Brazilian representing, started chip leader, still chip leader as he is trying to close out his first win.
You
Duco
got
on
Gus and I
first
got
there.
Duco, right? Neither of us took greedy. So you might
Yeah.
3-0 me here. It looks like you're positioned to do so, but anything can happen at this point. As the blinds go up again, and Duco with the best hand on the button is likely just going to take it down here.
All right.
No, he's
Queen 10,
not.
Jack 4. The Robbie.
Certainly not going to take it down on this board. Greedy making a somewhat light pre-flop call and getting rewarded here with one of the best flops for his hand. Big sizing on that check raise. I think on a board like this, you want to check raise like a lot smaller. Duco calls though. Wow, this is surprising. I thought Duco was gonna just fold easily there, but he picks up an open ended, and now Duco might be getting himself in trouble on this hand. Greedy throwing in the check, and Duco's gonna be real tempted to try and turn this into a bluff now, I think.
Yeah, this is a very well executed hand from Grigi as played. I mean, it's super crazy. It's almost like you can see his hands is exactly how you want to play. You check raise trips, you get floated, then you now are betting where he has some real equity.
Yeah,
You
I
are
love the way he's played the turn. I think the flop, I definitely like the raise. I think he should have sized a little smaller, but he got a call with it. So maybe his big sizing actually made Duco think he was bluffing a little more or something.
interesting river here. It's a
I
little
would imagine
scary.
Duco just takes his showdown,
Yeah,
but if he
he
does turn it
didn't.
into a bluff, it might actually work.
This is one of the worst rivers really for Grigi. There's a 4-liner to a straight. There is flush possible. Queen King completes. I mean,
Yeah, but
there's a
Duco
lot
beats a
of
7 and a 9 now, and I think a lot of Griggy's hands are going to be like a 7 or like a straight draw that got there. So I think it's going to go check check. If Duco had just the queen without the 10 to go with it, he'd probably be bluffing, but I don't think he's going to bluff this hand. And we do get the check.
Nice hand for Grigi. Duco short.
Yeah, Duco is quite short now.
All right, let me get
I
that
do miss
first.
using the emojis on GG. That was one of the best parts of playing there.
Yes. All right, first winner. Kirill Zavan. Number 1 of 3.
So we got a raise and a call here. Greedy with the worst hand, but if he maintains the initiative, he might be able to make it work for him. Duco might be obligated to call one here with position and getting such a good price, but his hand is pretty bad. And Grigi makes his pair on the turn. So that is bad news for Duco here.
All right, that is a second keyword. GGWSOP space Bahamas. Insert GGPoker username as we are playing a big pot. Queen 5, Queen 8. Every hand important. Queen 5 really does strike here. And Duco, things not shaking out super well for him at this moment. This is a pretty abysmal spot and turn and just really no equity. And gets out turns.
Yeah, I think his hand is quite bad now. He's gonna have to fold. Although he's certainly made creative plays before, he might do another one here. In theory, this hand seems like it should be a fold. Does make the fold. It's going to be quite close in the heads-up match here. Assuming we get there, Duco might make a comeback still, but he's down to about 10 bigs at this point. We've seen the heads-ups go, at least the ones I've covered, they tend to go pretty quick. Sometimes when you go into heads-up with 60 big ones, it can be a real battle and can go for an hour or something, but most of the ones I've seen that I've done, I think I've done like 4 or 5 of these now, they go quick. So we'll see which kind of heads-up this is, but we have to get there first. As Grigi rivers a straight, Gus might be tempted to bluff here. If he does, it is not going to work for him. He is going to bluff. Grigi certainly not folding this for this size. No chance. He might actually raise. Let's see if he raises or just calls. Not going to make a difference though, because Gus can't do anything. Very large raise. I don't mind a raise there, but I think it should be a little smaller than that. And Duco's got King 10 on the button for 11. I think he's just going to jam this one. He does indeed. And he'll stay alive. Already locked up a nice payday, 136.5.
Yep. As King 4 ripping. Duco is, again, 4-time winner, going for 5. Nice hand. Grigi actually has played very well. He folded the ace king earlier. He's made some nice plays. He got check raise, caught speeding, but he's been battling. And here we go with real hands everywhere. Ace, jack, gonna rip it. Sevens, ace 8 actually. Pretty unlucky for Duco. He might have been in a pretty good spot to double. Instead, now he's going to be flipping. One of his aces are gone. This could take us to heads up, and a clean flop for GGPoker to the river. Needs to fade 6 as we know it. 5 out.
Ace could be a heart. Nope.
Oh,
all right.
the
We're heads up.
heart. We're heads up.
I need Grigi to win, or else you're going to be 3-0 on me in the predictions, and it's I've been getting crushed. Good thing I don't actually have access to the betting thing, or I'm not very good at those apparently.
Yeah, we got we got about, well, short sample, but about 50K heads up, just under, for the today to be a first time winner here on the GG Millions. Pretty important one for everyone. 50 G's, 5 buy-ins, and we are playing it to a winner now. No deal making, and appreciate everyone in the audience who've hit that heads up. And again, remind you to go check out the WSOP coverage of this 10 million to first, 60 mil guaranteed here in the Bahamas. It is a big day for poker, as about 100 left, and you guys can watch that coverage on
That was
WSOP
an
as
enormous
well.
raise from Grigi. He just like 7x over the limp, just trying to assert dominance or something there. It's not something you see that often in the heads up, I think. Now we got a good hand from Gus here. We'll see if he three bets or just calls. I think both options are viable, but this might be a three bet. I think heads up, this hand is just fantastic, and you want to try to build the pot or win the pot, as the case may be.
All right. 6 million to 5 million. We are pretty tight here. Who do you got? One for the Brazilian, two for my man GGPoker. Who do you got for your champions? Very close to call as we are underway for the second giveaway. We'll get that over to you very shortly, and then we'll get the third.
Well, I got to root for Grigi or else I'm down 3-0, but I think it go either way here for sure. I mean, Gus has played a very good game for someone who did not have very many cashes on the site coming in. Hasn't played this tournament much, if at all, and he's got himself in a great position here. Heads up, he's flopped the bottom end of the straight. I don't know about this sizing. I don't think like even though you want to protect your hand, you have a very good hand, but it's one of those things where if you inflate the pot too much, you start just isolating yourself against the few hands that beat you. So I think you want to just go for a smaller sizing on the flop there, especially without a flush draw. Now Grigi probably should just call this one, but he goes for the three bet, and that's going to work. I say this every time, but one of the most interesting transitions in MTTs is going from the three-handed and four-handed to heads up. It's like you're playing just like a completely different format all of a sudden. Pure chip EV, no ICM anymore. Every hand has to be played. It's just a huge transition, and sometimes people have a hard time making that transition right away. The
Yeah,
incentives are
absolutely.
just completely opposed. Heads up versus like three and four handed.
You're absolutely right. All right. Well, I'm going to pick the second giveaway, as we have two of three for the $50 GG tickets.
Gus playing his
And
hand as a check call here on the turn. I think wisely so. He's got some showdown. He's got a draw. And we'll see if he makes a call here. It's a pot size bet. He does have an open ended and a pair. His opponent has nothing, but he is out of position and he's potentially facing another large bet on the river. Does make the call. Grigi pairs his eight, so that's probably just going to go check check, and Grigi wins.
yep, five deuce and jack eight, as five deuce had a pretty nice board against this hand. A little unlucky there. He's got protection. He's open ended, and then he ends
He
up.
was way ahead on the turn, but unfortunately for him, he got six outed on the river. So a nicely played hand there from Gus, but it didn't work out for him that time. Grigi content to just take the showdown after that river, which I think is a wise decision. You certainly can be up against some Queen X. If you bet again, you might value cut yourself. So good check.
Yeah, nicely played. Everyone playing great. This one's too close to call for me. I just think I'm just biased to Brazilian, and I actually have I have him, so I'm going to root for him. But it's very tight. Grigi, I thought really avoid. I mean, honestly, he could have been out in ninth,
Yeah,
right?
that
Or
fold with
eighth.
Ace King in the first hand or whatever was incredible. I mean, I think I would have just liked to flat the first time around, but once he did three bet, got four bet, he got out of the way, and correctly so. I mean, if he went back and watched the replay, that's got to give him a lot of confidence going into the tournament more, because you fold a hand like that and it's going to bother you the whole time, but then you can go back and check
Yep.
the replay and be like, oh man, I was crushed. I dodged a bullet and weird. I don't know about this four, but I think he's gonna get shoved on. And he's gonna have to fold.
Yes, sixes heads up again. Queen seven
We're
off.
only
Easy.
about 5 or 6 hands into this heads up match, but we've already seen Grigi playing his like weak offsuit ace
Wow.
X. Oh man,
Whoa.
he just calls.
Whoa. Big flop
I
for
think
the
he's got
side.
to shove there. I mean, a pair heads up, even for this many big blinds, I think you just have to go with it. But
Yeah.
Grigi has a great flop here. He's got a gut shot. He's got the nut flush draw. He also has a live overcard. If he has a seven, that's no good, but his ace is good. And Gus, he has a gut shot and a pair. So, I mean, the money might go in here, but it's also three hearts. He does not have a heart. So it's not going to be easy for him to want to commit the rest. This might be one of those fast heads up matches. We'll see.
This
And this
is
is why I would
crazy.
have preferred a
Crazy
five bet
spot.
from Gus. I think when you call the four bet boards like this, you have the best hand, but it's like really, really hard to actually get all the way to showdown. And now if it goes check again, Grigi might just put the rest in. He still has a fantastic draw.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. This is likely going to happen. We see our second winner, Mills I3Q. Congrats, $50 ticket. We'll get our third one underway as we are heads up, and we are seeing some special poker. Wow, river. He checks, and we are on the river now. This is a pretty interesting hand. Didn't expect this to be played this way.
Yeah, this might actually work out for Gus. I mean, he might. I mean, I can't see him betting unless he turn his hand into a bluff, which is possible. I mean, he's actually still behind quite a few hands here. But if he checks, 3G might go for the rest. I mean, he's got a pretty good hand to bluff with. He's got the nut flush blocker. He's not going to win by checking.
Wow, this is wild, wild stuff. Sixes to get to win on this board would be insane. And Grigi as played, I
I
guess,
think
is
3G
he
has to bluff here. He's just not winning by checking. And he's got a great. Oh man, no bluff.
and as played too, you
Ooh.
would think maybe you would do that if you had flopped enough flush or something, or if you had,
I mean, if you
I don't
flop
know.
on a flush,
That's
you can check turn and then bet the river for value.
yeah.
But yeah, that's wild, man. I thought Gus was going to get blown off that hand either on the turn or the river, but Grigi gave up on it, and Gus got to show it down, getting rewarded for not five betting pre. And now we have a very even game. Gus switching over to 3xing out of the stacks are a little bit deeper. Bad flop for him. And one thing to keep an eye on, Gus's time bank is getting quite low. So if this heads up match drags on a little bit, he may find himself with no time bank, which is always a really tough spot to navigate heads up. Especially with deeper stacks, trying to play heads up with a 5-second window to make decisions is brutal.
Yep, ace 10, 9, 3, both with pairs. Ace 10 has a check mark here. Probably got to say it's good. No, it's a big hand. All of a sudden, with as played, ace jack jack, your 10 plays kicker even.
Gus is going to look him up, hoping to be up against king queen or something, but he is up against an ace. And Greedy will take that one down. Yeah, we're seeing some big pots here. So despite the stacks being so deep, this may be a somewhat fast heads-up match. You might get to your tournament on time. We'll see. What's the
I'm going to
buy on
register it
that?
at the very last second. If they blind me out a bit, it's okay. At this point, we're too close. GG Millions. That's my priority. This is my home. I'll try to sneak in. That'd be a great story. Late reg, blind out a little, go win a bracelet, do this to a winner.
What's the buy-in on that turbo?
That's the 2750. If I get
Okay.
knocked out of that, I'll consider the 25, or maybe we'll see how it's looking. But it's kind of turbo. It's already late. It's not necessarily the best, but it's a 5 million guaranteed. Rare to get 200 people in 25Ks, so or 200
Yeah, that's
entries.
true. That was pretty big.
It's rare for sure. It's a nice hand there.
Gus
Bears that
check
computer
raising
hand.
with the best hand as a bluff, but takes it down. Yeah, we're seeing some. These guys are slugging in this heads-up match, man. You're not afraid to throw chips around now that it's heads up. They are battling. Great flop for Grigi. He has top pair. Gus basically drawing dead. His backdoor flush draw isn't even good. Could raise, could call there. I think it's a texture that's going to get check raised a lot because it's just like a way ahead, way behind. It's like small. There's a lot of small check raising on this texture, but I think calling is also a viable option.
Queen Jack, 8-9. Nice hand there. Grigi picks it up. Pretty safe with the Queen Jack. Loses to 4, flushes. But yeah, again, heads up. Hard to make pair. Very strong hand. Top 2. Queen 10, 6, 7. He is going for. Let's talk about min raising here. They're fairly deep, right? 50 for 5 mil at
Yeah,
80
I
bigs.
think starting with a min raise with like a pretty wide range at 60 is totally
Yeah.
fine. Once you get to like 20 and under, you have to be really careful with that. But at 60, just trying to play slightly bigger pots in your position is a totally valid approach, and you can raise with a lot of hands this deep. Very common mistake though. You see when people get to 20 and under, they start raising with like a lot of hands. It can become very costly. But we're not in a spot like that here.
9-5, Jack 6. Okay, so Jack 6 got the gut shot, blocking straights, but Jack high is no good. 9-5 with the middle pair, 8 pairs, 5 probably feeling a little stronger here. And a bet now from the Jack 6 as 9-5 certainly can't fold, I don't think here, although it's a decent ask, 500K and a 7.
Yeah, he's got position. He's got middle pair, so I don't see him folding. He pairs is 9 also, which doesn't actually change anything, but might make him a little more comfortable calling a river bluff.
Yeah, I mean, there is some possibly value betting like King 5 or Ace 5 or certain hands. I mean, you do beat, although in this particular river,
Wow, that's an enormous bet. And Gus snap
snaps it
calls. Good
off.
call by Gus. Not having it.
Yeah, he's got Grigi down now to a pretty sizable deficit, 8 million to 3 million. Not over yet, and we will queue up that third giveaway. It is going to be a $50 GG ticket. We'll once we just crossed 100, let's get to 150. It's asking a lot. We got 500. I was trying to get some more thumbs up. Must be hitting that to be eligible to win anyway. So subscribe, hit it for the thumbs up, and the keyword is GGWSOP bracelet. Insert your GGPoker username. As we will continue on heads up play 50K in the middle, about 5 buy-ins, just under. And I'm going to get in that tournament. I think I got faith that we're going to get late reg and they won't put me in right away. Either way, I'll have at least 10 blinds. So it's plenty. It's a turbo knockout. People play a little crazier. Good time to pick up cards. Maybe next week, have a bracelet. You have one, Brian, or no? I know you don't play much
I don't
live.
have a
Do you have?
bracelet yet now.
You do not. So me and you, we're probably on a list of, at some point, because we have had, what's your closest live or online? You played some online bracelet stuff too, right?
Online, I think I got like third and one live. I've made a couple. I think I've got like 10th twice. So I've gotten close, but I haven't quite gotten there.
Yeah,
But it's been a
again,
while
Brian
since I played a
Paris.
full series. I didn't play any World Series in the States at all for like 12 years. So I got my 10ths are both from like 2010 and before.
Yeah. Yeah. Also,
Hoping I
again,
can.
playing 90-95% online. Second player ever to 10 million online cash. His online crusher, legend, and streamer has content, including the Mid Stakes Mastery. Put that link in earlier. Guys can look that up. And again, appreciate Brian, his time 2 times in 3 weeks right now. He has been at home and relaxing during this holiday period, as a little hard to schedule as well with everyone kind of playing day 2s, day 3s, not sure what's going on. So do appreciate you stepping in and always love having you. One of
I'm
the
always
best
happy
poker
to be here.
minds
It's
in the
always very
game.
educational, you know.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I know you're busy. You got kids, you got a lot going on. So do appreciate the time and hope everyone's enjoying the show today. As we will see 2 real hands here, 10-7 suited. Grigi getting short, doesn't want to peel that one.
Yeah, we're seeing the
And
problem with the min raise strat because like if you limp 10-7 there, you can very easily call a raise, but if you raise and then you get 3
yeah,
bet, you have to fold. So that sort of shows what I was talking about, where it becomes difficult when you get these shorter stacks to keep supporting too many raises.
yeah.
Because like
I'm
that
I'm
hand
a
you want to see
little
a flop, you have 40 something percent of position, and having to fold it pre-flop is like pretty
yeah.
ugly.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised by the what do you call it? I was a little surprised by that with him not limping off that, right? But that could just be a lack of experience for heads up, or maybe even just a
It's also just
strategy
hard to
because
switch
of
gears because you know they started this match 60 effective and now he suddenly got 20, and it's like that's one of the challenges of tournaments is that your situation is just constantly changing, and sometimes you have to just take
Yep.
a dramatically different approach, like one hand after what you were doing before. And we did see him limp this one, so he is making the adjustment.
Yep, he does shift there as 6-9, calling the raise and a gut shot with the heart. His heart would be good runner. Ace five, best hand. Hard to realize sometimes in this and heads up so wide, but he is going to keep betting. Gets called. Now, does he keep
This is a tough
shoving?
board to bet with ace five because your opponent's always going to have something on this board, right? It's really hard for them to not have like either a gut shot or a pair or a flush draw. Just everything has something on this board. So
Wow. He
you
picks
see
up.
him bet twice, which I think is a good approach if you are going to bet the flop. And I think ace five should check the flop a lot there.
Yep. Down to 16, 17 blinds. Ace three picks that one up too. So he's getting close. Can he finish it? Not easy to close. So hard to win even with this big of a lead. Does he start limping, raising? I don't know. I think I
The
would
heads
like
up
to
can be
see.
frustrating because you can build a big lead like this, and then a couple 60-40s later, you're right back where you started, and you got to really like keep the pressure on. You can't get sloppy even with a huge lead. You got to really like stay buckled in and focused and everything. Gus picks up the straight. Greedy with two pair. Unfortunate run out for him. He is going to bet for value, and unfortunately for him, that's not going to work out. So now he
Yep.
is getting crushed so far. He's found himself at a 10-1 deficit after about, 10 minutes ago, they were even. But that's how it goes heads up. The hands, especially when these guys are playing such big pots and so unwilling to Gus should call
Ace
here. Yeah.
four. This could be for the win. Could be your first time champion here. Ace four against Ducks. He needs an ace or a four. 2-1 favor now for the deuces.
King or
Board
seven now.
pairs. Got counterfeit out. 7 king, 7 ace. It is a 10, and we will continue on. Not over yet. It is a 4-1 favorite currently, just about still. It was much more than that. So queen seven, computer hand again, 9-7 off. Expect limps on the 20 blinds. He goes for the min raise. Interesting, as we see a open-ended, pretty good flop for 9-7 off.
That should probably win on the flop, and it does. We got a flush draw versus a gut shot here.
8-10 and 3 deuce suited, hard to fold. He makes the flush.
Grigi's got his flush now, so he's well on his way to a comeback. I mean, if he just wins the pot as it stands, it's a straight versus a flush. So he might get the full double here.
Hello. That's a nice path. He's got no club to fade too, so pretty nice here. Just gonna get the check mark to get well back in it. You can see how quickly it does
Oh
shift,
man, yeah, that's a
6.7 to 4.
fast
That is
turnaround.
sick.
Two doubles and he's right back in it. Like I was saying, he's almost back to even, and this has been a very swingy heads up match so far. It was a pretty unfortunate turn for him. The gut shot fills and the flush fill is the only turn in the deck that does that, so that's rough.
That is rough. That is super rough, as we are gonna see a continued match here. Jack 7, Jack 5, both fighting. Again, two great poker minds. This has been a very, very, very strong, I'd say, sound. We saw great bluffs, great calls today. This has been a high level game. And again, a little more unknown. These two are guys I've not really been familiar with, and I would say they both played excellent thus far today. I think really, really worthy players and opponents, and coming into this Champions League of poker, if you will, and the GG Millions, and battling some of the best in the game and being a bit more, stepping into this pond is it's tough. It cannot be a little intimidating.
Yeah,
These
this is
guys have
not an
not been
easy field by
intimidated.
any means. Everyone in the field's pretty. Even the unknown players are quite strong. So it's an impressive achievement to make it this far, even on an off week like this week. And we're seeing a lot of three betting. These guys are slugging. They're not playing a prolonged match. This is a slugfest. Blinds are up. Grigi here does not want to hit his jack. That would be very bad for him. He hits his 6, which is the only way he can win the hand. But now he's counterfeit.
Yep, we're shut down. All right, we got the
I
third
mentioned this
giveaway.
before, but one thing to keep an eye on is Gus's time bank is almost out, so that could be a big advantage for Grigi if he can prolong this match long enough to drain that time bank. And that's actually something I'd be keeping an eye on if I was playing this match. If I'm Grigi, I would try to play like a more low variance style until that time bank goes out. And then at that point, you have a huge edge because your opponent has to make all their decisions within 5 seconds.
Yep. King Jack, Queen six, Queen six does pair. This is a dogfight now. This is anyone's game, as King Jack does float, is in big trouble against this particular hand at the moment.
Yeah, Gus
As
even
we
has
will
a gut
pick that.
shot, and he hits it. He's got the straight now, so Grigi might try to
Wow,
bluff this, run right into
does
it.
improve. Okay, we are still rolling here as we see that big pot. So it does separate back. Grigi was climbing into it. Now he's a little bit away, as I will get that third giveaway underway. As I got to say, Bryan, what a final table. At this point, Goose Campos feels like he's got the sauce to finish it out. He separates again. It just feels like it's his. He started chip leader. I don't know. I think I was going to fade him, honestly. So I think GGPoker as
Good
well. I
pick.
don't
I
know
was
where he
I was kind of
started.
tempted to take him too because it's always fun to like. Because last time we saw our unknown Brazilian get to heads up before losing to Sven. Last time I was on, anyway, not last week. But this is going to be a double for Grigi unless Gus hits a queen.
All right, ace, king, ace, queen. This is on their backs. It is a big moment in the tournament for all of it. Time banks at 20 seconds. Jack, pairs, possible, chops, river.
Oh, there's a
Wow,
chop.
wow, what a moment there. That would have really brought things level as
Would
a
have brought him
huge
back
moment.
to
And what a
almost even.
cooler. What an actual cooler there. Let me get this third giveaway pick. That could have been it right there. I'm a little behind, just getting this,
Yeah, heads up. That's a hell of a hand, man. I mean, we saw that hand happen earlier, blind versus blind, when there were 6 players left or whatever, ace, king, ace, queen. And even there, it's a cooler. But heads up, it's like really a cooler because
that is sick. That was crazy chop there. Crazy, crazy chop.
you never want to see that first turn pair when you got the ace, king versus ace, queen. You're like, oh no, here comes the chop. And then there it was. But better than losing, at least.
Yes.
And Gus has 2 pair here. Grigi might try to bluff, but if he does, it is not going to end well for him. And if Gus just calls here and then check calls again on the river, he might win the tournament, but he might be tempted to jam this. There's a lot of draws. He's got kind of a vulnerable 2 pair. It's not top 2 or anything. A lot of draws out there. Yeah, I'm not surprised to see a jam. So he is going to win the pot. He's not going to win anything else on the river, but a nice pickup for him. And he's got Grigi on the ropes again. He's up about 6-1.
6-1. This is just feels like it's his time. Feels like it's his time. Can he finish it off? King 7 suited, King 10, the taxi. Gonna min raise. Flirting with
I think he's just
danger.
going to call here. Yeah.
Yeah.
So King 10 flops open ended. King 7's got nothing. So that should probably be the end of this one.
Yeah. Oh, floats.
He has the nuts. Yeah, I don't know about floating here without any backdoor flush potential. But unless he gets real creative here, he's probably just going to wind up folding the turn. I mean, heads up, you definitely have to be willing to get out of line sometimes, but it's also important to have, at least like a backdoor flush draw or something to go with your king high. I mean, I'm not sure that that was the wrong call, but I'm a little surprised. I think it's a little bit wet. Gus raising with queen 2. Grigi calling with king 2. Both players have the same low end of the gut shot here.
Yep. Queen deuce, king high, well ahead. Although Queen deuce is asserting themselves and gets the win again, showing you the power position. Taking some stabs, making a better hand fold 9 mil to 1.6 mil. Significant lead. Grigi running out of daylight here. Needs to get moving if it's gonna get in the game, as did once close the gap, but now ace 4 gonna lean here with one of those hands. Not good enough to really be trying to induce min raise, but it's a strong hand. Gonna be the best hand a lot, but just wants to shove, doesn't want to min raise.
Yeah, I like the jam there for sure.
Yeah.
It's you figure to be ahead, but most flops are bad for you, so you want to just kind of get it over with pre.
Yep. All right, queen 4, 8-9, 8-9, gonna limp in. Starts out the little.
Grigi switching to limping now, which is the correct way to approach this now that he's got less chips. And Gus, that time bank is almost gone, so he's got to be real careful here. Very, very hard to play heads up with no time bank.
Yes, it is. Going to give everyone a chance to
Heads up, you got to
register.
account for so many different hands, and the ranges are so wide, and having no time bank is just a huge disadvantage. So if Grigi can get back in the game a little bit, I think he might be able to leverage that going forward. But he does need to get the stacks a little more even for him to be able to take advantage of it. With these shallower stacks, the decisions are easier, but once you get to 40 effective or something, it becomes real hard to play heads up with this no time bank. Gus, folding the button there, that is definitely not correct. You're not supposed to fold the button with any hand except for like 2-3 offsuit of this stack depth. You're supposed to limp basically everything. Are you raising here? Again, that hand probably should be a limp. Gus picks up a lot of draws on the turn. Does not bet. Maybe going for a check raise on the turn there. I'm not sure. Seems like a good spot to bet. But
Yeah,
he's happy to
10-7
show down
makes
his
the
7 now
7.
and win.
Yeah, nice. I mean, 10-7 suited was a nuclear wrap on there with the open-ended flush draw, 10-7 good. He does pick it up, and as played, ace-6, queen-9, gonna have a chance to possibly jam there. He does limp, and
might be tempted to. Well, it's actually close to being a call there with queen 9. I mean, it's not like an amazing call or anything, but
yeah,
you're
I
supposed to
think
be
I'd
getting
prefer to
jammed
just
on over
shove
your
there.
limp so much that it's at least close. So now we have the other spot and then the other way.
Oh, wow.
But this time the queen 9 suited, so he might wind up calling the shove too.
And what do you, I would have preferred the queen-9 off shove, right?
I mean, it's close. I think you can limp it at this stack depth. It's almost like a little too good to shove.
No, I mean the queen-9 off. Well, here we go. We got on their backs
I know
ace-4, queen-9 suited, ace-4 in the lead 73% of the time to the river. He needs a queen or 9 non-spade. Oh,
there it is.
Never over. It's not over. I'm trying to get in this tournament. Come on,
I
Goose
know, man.
Campos.
That's brutal for you.
No,
You're
that's
probably rooting for
crazy.
that to be over harder
That sums
than
up my
Gus was.
Bahamas week right there, but that's all right. Aces now. Oh, how about the limp? No, yeah, I guess he raised. He's got a little more chips now.
Now
but
they're
wow.
25 effective now, so I think raising makes more sense. You don't want to give him a free flop. At
Yeah.
20 under, I definitely would limp.
That's true. That's true. Ace deuce,
Well,
ace
will be
6.
going up again next hand at least for you, so we may get a fast finish here anyway. But yeah, that was brutal for you, man.
Nuts stuff. Nuts game. What a game we play. Poker wild, never over till it's over. As we see ace deuce now attacking, and honestly, that's not going to work right away. Ace 6 in the lead.
They both have pretty good hands, though. I mean, they both have ace high. Gus has a gut shot, and he takes it down on the turn. That was a good bluff, as it turned out. I mean, you kind of tempted to show that down because you got ace high, but it turned out he did need to bluff with it, and he folds 2-8 there, which I think is a little more acceptable. The last time he folded like Jack 5, which is definitely too tight. One of the biggest mistakes you can make heads up is just folding your button too much. If you look at solutions for heads up, it just never wants to fold the button.
Yep.
Got that ticker now, so we can sort of feel the pressure that Gus is under with no time bank. Every time he plays a hand, he's going to hear that ticking time bomb.
And I'm actually getting word, I believe Campos is in the main event. He's actually got 13 million. I'm looking on the updates. I just got word of that. So pretty crazy. Imagine you're playing for 10 million with 100 left in a 25K. You are potentially winning your first ever. I just getting word right now. Someone just gave word on that. So I don't know. He's heads up and battling there. Gustavo Silva Campos, trying to look at his profile on.
Oh, that makes it even harder, man. He's got no time bank, so if he's like in a hand in the live tournament, then he's got to play the heads up. I mean, geez, that's
crazy. That's probably why he's timing out. That's like a big reason. He's focusing live. He's playing here. Ace Jack Queen 5. Can he do it? Can he close this out? What a monster day. I gotta go say hi to this guy. Probably be in a better mood if he ends up being the champion. He's the favorite right now. He checked. Did he just ace jack? Was that a limp?
I
And he
don't. I don't
checked
think it was
back?
intentional. I think it's what you're saying. He's probably in a hand in the live, and he just
Wow.
timeout checked. This is
Wow, wow,
like
wow.
crazy if he's under that constraint as well. I mean, hopefully he doesn't timeout fold here. No, he doesn't.
Sick.
But yeah, I don't think he meant to check free. I mean, it's certainly not like a hand you should check.
Wow.
And this guy's having quite a day for
9-7.
someone with like 100K live cash his career, both live and on GG. He's really having a hell of a day. Heads
Yeah,
up
this is a day safe to say he won't forget no matter what happens. Obviously, stamping it with the win, extra 50K, be nice.
Yeah, but that's only 2 buy-ins in the live tournament he's into. I mean, it's like,
That's true.
geez, this guy is having a monster day.
All right, let me get the third winner as well. We're down. The blinds are up. We get 2 million. I'm going to put this in there. So the third winner today, high tempo edit. Congrats to you. It's a $50 GG ticket. Wish the best of luck to you. I'm going to put that in as we keep going. I am going to register for this tournament. It feels like it could be any hand. It could also go for a long time. I'm really rooting for my man Gus Campos now as the reg is closing in the live event, but that's okay. The problem is, you know Atlantis. You've been here?
Yeah.
It's far. Like I'm as far as
you gotta
possible.
go like way the hell
It's
over
like
there
a
to get to
15.
the
I'm gonna
tournament
run,
scene.
get a nice little sweat in there at some point. But here we go. We're still
I
running.
won my
it.
first package there when I was 21, I think. I won one of those tournaments on Stars. You know,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, back in the day. I've been here for like 20 years. Feels right. Good place to get a bracelet coming in. 6-10. He's gonna bet 7-8. All of a sudden, if he doesn't have a 10 or a 9, he's got potentially equity. Does he want to maybe bluff? Does he want to get involved? Let's see. GGPoker. He does call.
calls.
Could he slip over a check? Little Johnny Chan, Eric Seidel moment. Little knuckle over there. Or no, or just bet
I would
against the
like to
9 ace
check,
high.
but no, he goes for it. He's trying to get value from a 9 or from ace high, and
Yeah, to be
unfortunately for
fair,
him,
you're going to
had the
get
busted
9
draw.
is going to bet ace king high, probably might check back a king. So I think, again, seeing the cards, yes, check it would be great, but not
Man,
the
we got to
case.
remember all the constraints he's under too. I mean, at this point, he's almost just clicking random buttons because he's got 5 seconds to make a decision. He's playing live. He's just
5 deuce suited queen 9. He's behind. Can he get it done? There's a deuce, needs to fade a queen, a 9, a diamond, a 10. This is all kinds of action on the river. It is a 9, but a diamond, the flush. The man is in the main, and he is doing it with a win. Takes it down. Gus Campos. What a day.
Story. What a
story. I mean, this guy probably gets a Bahamas tattoo at this point, depending on how the man goes. Wins GG Millions, fighting for 10 million live. I got to go shake this man's hand, and I would love to do a long closeout, ask you all your opinions. I'm going to ask you one takeaway, though, Bryan, before I do literally sprint into this World Series poker event. Tell me about today. Give me your closing thoughts.
I think the one thing I would have liked to see is in the heads-up match, if I'm GGPoker, I would have liked to have played a much slower, drawn-out style and try to take advantage of the fact that my opponent had no time bank. I think he was playing like very big pots and trying to end the match quickly. But if I come in and my opponent has no time bank in the heads-up match, my strategy is to make it last as long as possible. Try to really take advantage of that. Put him in tough spots once that time bank gets to 0. But Grigi just had pedal to the metal and was trying to go full bore and take that thing out. But yeah, other than that, really well played game from everyone. There were some really cool hands as always. This is always a very interesting tournament to watch, and I learned a lot as I always do. All
right, well, B. Paris, Bryan Paris, mid-stakes mastery, along with Mike Wasserman, the man, the myth. Appreciate you 2 times in 2 weeks. I'm giving you a 2% free roll to this WSOP buy-in. So give me a little extra energy. I might ask for some coaching tips. This man is a great poker player. Check his course out. Giving the GG team, everyone in the booth there, getting a 5% free roll. I'm running over there. My man Errol, everyone, what a week, what a time. I'm feeling good, even though it's not been a good week in the Bahamas, but it's not over. I'm going in. I will see you all next week. Good luck. Play well. Have fun. Boa noite.
You're winning.